All right. We're live. We are live.
Awesome.
I'm pretty damn sure we're live, guys. Yeah. Checking on YouTube now. We're live. Yeah. Okay. So it's so all right. It's been a minute since we streamed on the channel, but hey, if you don't know, Brother Cousins is joining me. Oh, he's over here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
And we are spoiler talking Spider-Man. So
Yes.
as the thumbnail says, it's spoiler talk. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to get spoiled, don't watch this because we're not holding back anything, okay?
We're dropping some bombs tonight,
We're dropping
y'all.
bombs, all right? Like another Vietnam. It's going.
Yes.
Man.
Man.
What's up, guys? Jason, Fabio, what's cracking, brother? Jason, have you seen this movie? We are going to talk spoilers. I'm really trying to preface that. That's going to take a minute because some people just don't understand. They're like, oh, hey, he's streaming. And they might tune in for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, what's up? And be like, oh, shit, what is this? And not pay attention to the title or the thumbnail. So.
You don't want to do that. It's a lot to happen in this movie.
All right. See, Jason's out. See, we appreciate that, bro. We appreciate that. All right. Tukathri, what's up, man? Spoiler talk, Spider-Man. I'm gonna say it again. Spoiler talk. We're spoiling Spider-Man. Anyway, so I guess we'll just talk a first few minutes. That's non-spoiler for the first couple minutes. Okay. What did you think of the movie?
Man, honestly, I think it was amazing. I mean, no pun intended. But
right.
I really thought, I thought they did an excellent job on it. It was everything I wanted out of this movie. And I mean, I think we all knew like a lot of stuff we knew. It was a lot of open secrets in this movie. And yeah, it just delivered. It just delivered completely. But I mean, I didn't expect it to be as sad as it was. Like I didn't expect to walk out the theater crying yet again. Y'all just gonna call me a big crybaby.
Hey,
I cried in Ghostbusters and I cried in this movie.
Well, we're cry brothers, man. Because I felt it. I teared up a little bit, man, in both of those movies, bro. Like, you know, strong men also cry, as they say in The Big Lebowski. I mean, like, no, dude, I felt the same way. I felt like it was a sad ending, and but a good ending, like
exactly.
Good ending.
It kind of took me back to the Amazing Spider-Man. You know, where happened to, you know, how that happened to Gwen Stacy and everything, and we're kind of left on a real somber note, but. You know, we see him swinging and everything at the end, and you know, it's good to see him do his thing in Amazing Spider-Man. But at the end of that movie, you still was kind of like, damn, this was hard. You know, it was real heavy, especially for a Spider-Man movie. And I think with this one, you kind of get that same feeling, but it's better because I mean, one, the MCU they just did it better. But the trip and the journey we took with this kid and all that he went through and to where he was then and where he is now, goddamn,
dude. And you know what, you when you say it that way, it's like, because it's a little bit different, right? Because it is an MCU movie-ish, right? But it's still a Sony thing. But what you're saying, for let's just classify it as an MCU movie, right? And if that is the case, it was that feeling, that, you know, depressing kind of set. That's not MCU style. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at all. And that made me feel. Sorry, I was sending a link. That made me feel like, okay, this felt like Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
And the stakes and then when one particular moment happens in the movie, and we're gonna get to it, but that broke me. And then when that character said that famous line, I just knew, like, fuck. That's how y'all going to do it? That's how you're going to do it?
I know. As soon, yeah, exactly. So you know what? What's up, Dante? Dude, I definitely cried, homie. Look, we're going to say it right there. Same thing. When Aunt May said, with great power comes great responsibility, I nudged my buddy. I was like, yo, man, Uncle Ben said that shit right before he died. and then she died. So I was like, yeah. And then we've talked about that beforehand. I've always said, I was like, Aunt May has to die, bro. Spider-Man needs to become Spider-Man. Like, he's always been dependent on Iron Man and other Avengers, and
Exactly.
and that's why I didn't like him. I like Tom Holland, but I didn't like the MCU Spider-Man.
And I remember you. And the funny thing is, when I was sitting there last night, I was thinking about you saying that, and I was like, "Fuck!" Now he's really on his own. Now he's really. I mean, you took away the toys. I mean, because he was Iron Boy. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He was Iron Boy he was having all this stuff kind of given to him.
Yes.
And he had a cool, hip, sexy aunt. I mean, I love Marissa Tomei. That's another thing.
Oh, yeah, of course. My Cousin Vinny and all that shit. Like,
and that living single, what was it called? Different World. Loved her since then. So
that's right, bro. Yep.
Yes. My Cousin Vinny, what up? Yeah, definitely. She's awesome. So to have her as that cool hip aunt that understands is kind of, he kind of had everything for him, all the tools. He had Iron Man, he's Avenger, he had all this to be a good superhero.
Yeah.
But now have all that pulled away.
Like, yo, I could have been a good superhero, dude, if Iron Man was in my, in my pocket, right? Like, that's why I felt like, dude. And real quick, guys, I am reading the chat, but I'm doing something different right now. I'm kind of not in StreamYard, so I can't bring up the chat. This is a little experiment that we were testing. Figured we might as well try it with here. But I do see what you're saying, Tough Guy. You said I had a question in my mind, like, what if Doctor Strange had casted the spell so that everyone forgets who Mysterio was instead of Peter Parker?
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that would have.
That's a loophole?
I don't know, because here's the thing, like, and I was a little confused by this too, and we're gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah.
But so all the villains and let's just say villains. If I understand it correctly, when he goofed up on the spell, right? Then all the villains know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, is my understanding, and that's why the villains came.
That's where I'm a little foggy with that.
Right, because when he reverses it, they disappear.
Because what did he say? He said, damn it, I forgot it. See, this is why I need to see it again. Because he said that when they did the spell, he said something about all the Peter Parkers in the world. Damn it, I forgot that. But yeah, but that's what initially pulled all of them in from all those different universes. All those different multiverses. But I'm trying to remember exactly what he said.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, because I was a little tripped out by that, right? Because I think it was because of that, like, not so much Mysterio. Because if they forgot who Mysterio was, it doesn't turn out doesn't undo the fact that Spider-Man, is Peter Parker. Like, he was revealed as such. They can't make it to where Mysterio doesn't exist. Yes, people won't remember him, but they wouldn't remember. They would still know that he was revealed on television. I don't know. See, this is where shit gets kind of, it's hard to kind of, toss that idea around, because I was tripping too, and there's so much to talk about. But like, on that topic though, it made me wonder. Doctor Strange said everybody in the world would forget, right? At the end. Yeah. What about the people off planet? Like Nick Fury or Captain Marvel, or
come back and be like, what the hell are y'all talking about? What's up, Peter? What's gonna happen with that?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I'm curious.
A damn good point. Well, if anybody would remember what Captain Marvel remember,
Well, the weird thing is they'll, I don't know how they're going to do this, because all the Avengers, they know, let's not forget, people did not forget Spider-Man, as they said. Even J. Jonah Jameson's talking about Spider-Man and why, he's a coward. He doesn't unmask himself. So everybody knows Spider-Man. They just don't know that it's Peter Parker. All the Avengers, Civil War, all that stuff, they got to remember being with Spider-Man. They just don't know who his identity is.
But that broke me at the end with Happy too, because for a minute you kind of forget.
Right, you kind of forget. Happy. You think they're just hanging out together.
He was like, oh well, at least he got Happy then.
Right.
He was like, damn.
And he's like, nice to meet you.
How'd you know her? Yeah, he's like, nice to meet you. How'd you know her? I was like, fuck. dog.
Exactly, dude. And I think
broke.
my favorite part of the movie, and I know there's so many, right? But if I really had to like think about what really was like, yes, this is dope, was the very, very, very end, because of what we just talked about. When you see him swinging around in his new homemade suit, not the homemade suit, but he made the suit. You saw the sewing. He stitched it together like the comics. He moved into some ghetto ass poor apartment. He has absolutely nobody. And he created his own suit. It's like, this is me. I got no help. I'm on my own.
And what I liked about that suit, you can tell he was kind of, to me, it kind of looked like he was inspired by the other Peter Parkers in their costume. And you get more of that comic accurate suit at the end. And that was just kind of, and that kind of like lightened the mood up a little bit too. It's like, damn, okay, damn, all right. He's really Spider-Man now.
And that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Maybe he did take inspiration from Toby and Andrew. Yeah. God damn, that shit was dope as fuck.
I'm still like pinching myself like that.
I literally just got the goosebumps just fucking saying it, man. Like, we all knew they were there. Let's be real, right? Like, and we joked about it because it would have been hilarious because they never publicly announced it. Both of them in interviews are like, we're not in the fucking movie. So it would have been kind of hilarious if they were not in the movie. And Sony would have been like, well, we never said they were.
Almost wish they did that. Almost wish they had. It would have pissed everybody off, but it would have been funny if they had a cut of the movie with them completely out of it and showed it like to like the press and everybody, and so everybody be like, it was good, but I don't know, and then boom, they just come with the real cut. That would have been fucking great.
Yeah. Well, and I liked how they did it, I should say.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I didn't think about it, because when you're watching it, you're in the theater, you miss some things. I didn't realize that Ned had the sling ring or whatever it's called. I forget. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Yep. Sling ring. Yep.
So when he was, and he wasn't even doing it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, he was hand motioning, just emphasizing, I wish I could find Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like, so I thought that was a really cool way, because I was like, how are they going to be here? We know they're in there, but how are they going to get in? And like, but my understanding is when the spell was cast, that's the moment they showed up, because he didn't ring into another universe. He just ringed down the street, because when, I don't know if it was Toby or Andrew, but one of them was saying, oh, I've been looking for him, or I seen him on the TV, or you know what I'm saying? They're here in the earth. They're like, nothing makes sense here. So they did arrive, I think, the same time the villains arrived. Exactly.
And they just pulled him forward. He just used the sling ring just to pull him forward.
Right. So I don't know, man. That was, Andrew Garfield's a badass Spider-Man, dude. And I think he stole the damn, like, I'm watching this shit and I'm like, dude.
He kind of stole the show.
Yeah, he stole the show, in my opinion.
He kind of did. And he was, out of those three, honestly, he was like my least favorite Spider-Man. I didn't hate his movies. I really liked Amazing Spider-Man. I thought what they did with the whole angle, with the whole arc of showing that comic accurate arc of killing Gwen Stacy, I thought it was ballsy. I thought it was a cool direction. It was dark, but it was ballsy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of cool. I thought it was cool that they did it. But but when Tom Holland came into it, I was like, okay, you got a kid, this young kid, he's a popcorn kid, makes sense, and he's charming as fuck. Okay, let's go with this. And I think Andrew Garfield kind of got lost in the shuffle. And everybody loves Toby because that's their first Spider-Man.
Right.
So, but to see him kind of finish off and kind of make up for, because he only had 2 movies.
Yeah.
I think that it was that had to be gratifying for him.
Dude, it makes you, well, it makes me want to see another movie with him.
Absolutely.
I mean, Toby 2 would be cool, but like, it just, really, because the Amazing Spider-Mans are not that old, dude.
They're not.
Remember, we were like, what the hell? They're gonna have another Spider-Man in MCU? We're like, didn't they just finish?
It was like a 2-year gap. Not even I don't think it was a 2-year. Yeah, I think it was like a 2-year gap.
Right.
Because I think Amazing Spider-Man came out 2014, And then we get Civil War in 2016. So it was like just a 2 year.
Yeah, it was like really, he's still like, whereas Toby was like 2002.
Right.
Was when it first, so I'm like, well, yeah, that was 20 years ago. There's been, I mean, there's, the sequels are, obviously a little bit, later on, but like,
about
still
2007, I think his arc, that his trilogy was done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it had been some time. It had been like a 7 years separation from it. So, or 6 year, 5 or 6 years, something like that. So it totally made sense, for them to change it at that time. Even though I was one of the guys, I was like, hey, can we get a Spider-Man 4 with the Vulture? I was ready for that. I was ready for another Tobey Maguire one. Yeah.
It just, so it sucks because I don't want to take away from Tom Holland, because I will say his performance in this movie was very good.
Oh, absolutely.
So I knew, and I already knew he was a good actor, right? Yeah, it's just, I think the way they've handled him in MCU and his 2 movies, he played the role of what they wanted.
Exactly.
But here you see that tone change. It shifts.
And it's funny to see him grow up on camera too, because that was the first time I was like, damn, he look like a man now. This compared to when you seen him in Civil War. It's like, oh, this little kid.
Right.
But you could tell he's like,
he's growing up,
mature, not just in looks or anything, but also in his acting and his approach. Because he's done some shit since these Spider-Man movies, and he only is getting better.
Yeah.
And you get to see him pull on more of that dramatic acting chops. I mean, another scene that broke me is when after Aunt May dies and they're all on the roof and it's Ned and MJ and they're holding him and he's just like crying, sobbing. Because you got to think about it, like this, at the end of the day, this is a 17-year-old kid that's been through all this, been through space, fought monsters, fought aliens, did all this shit, now lost his only parent. And going through all this shit, all in his formative years, all trying to get in college and dealing with all the shit. And it was just a lot. And then to see them like all break down and hug together, that was just like, damn. And that makes it even more impactful for what happens at the end. It's just like, just a damn nail to the heart.
Dude, I agree. And it's like, hey, what's up, JB? If you're tuning in, we're spoiler talking Spider-Man. Just a heads up. It's a spoiler. All spoiler. So we're going to continue. So with that said,
you've been warned.
Right. What I think makes that even more impactful is it parallels the story of Spider-Man, where not only did Aunt May die in, obviously different, right? It's not Uncle Ben, but not only did she die in this universe, it was his fault.
Yeah,
it was still his. So he's dealing with that as well. Not only is he dealing with that she just died, but because, he tried to do, save them.
Exactly.
He wanted to give them a second chance, how she had taught him.
Right.
And boom, that goblin. Speaking of, I mean, dude, Willem Dafoe, that was
Goat.
He played that shit, bro. I was, the trailer tripped me out, right? And I think all of us, right? Because I was thinking there was going to be 2 goblins, bro.
I did too.
Right, but that was him. He I didn't realize he destroys his mask. He's like, no, I don't want to be this fucking, Dr. Jekyll, and so now he just doesn't have the mask, so he just throws up a hood. So I was like, okay.
And I was like, you're getting Hobgoblin vibes.
I know. I was totally thinking we'd have another goblin.
And that was cool as shit. I mean, and then William Dafoe, I mean, that dude doesn't need a mask. Not trying to say anything bad about him, but he doesn't need a mask to play that character.
No, good. And I'm glad.
I'm glad. He doesn't need it. He it's just the ripped up hoodie and just did it. When he threw it over, I was like, shit, Hobgoblin.
Dude. Fuck. Yeah, because the whole, like, I appreciate the Raimi films. But I mean that suit was kind of cheese, bro. I mean, like Sam Raimi style, but I loved him. So to have him back again and just have the mask in the beginning, cool. Yep. Just to throwback, be like, yo, yep, this is him.
And probably sell toys.
Of course, I know, and we'll get into that because but no, he was amazing, and I always forget the guy's name, but Doc Ock was the shit. Straight up,
Fred Manola.
I think.
I may be killing it.
I'm just glad he was able to be redeemed.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because we know the story of Doc Ock through the comics, or perhaps, you know, in the Raimi movies, if you're familiar with just that. So the fact that that took control of him and his thoughts, and that this Peter was able to help him, and then that moment where he meets Toby, that was chill.
That was awesome. That was awesome. He's like, damn, you're a grown man now.
Right. They're like, how you doing? They're all happy to see each other, and like, because they work together, and you know.
Right.
Jeez.
Cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude. My brain's still like, dude, there's so much cool shit. Like, here's my only drawback, my only complaint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even really a complaint, really, because I think the movie overall was solid. But the other villains, now Electro was still badass. We'll talk about him, but it's like Lizard and Sandman.
You know, somewhere in these movies where you have these big ensemble movies, somebody has to take a hit and has to be benched. And they were on the bench a little bit. I think we got just enough from them. I didn't feel that they were like, it wasn't like in those old X-Men movies. Oh my God, where you would have a character that's a mutant that you were like, man, this is a mutant, this is a badass. Oh, this is the Juggernaut, he does this, and he's just some lumbering idiot running around. Even though I love Vinnie Jones, but you know it's more shit with Juggernaut than what they're portraying it in that movie. I didn't get that too much with this. I think we got just enough for the time. If the movie was a little bit longer, we probably would have got a little bit more closure with their characters. But I think the real story was, like you said, was with Hobgoblin and Electro and Ock. That was really the story.
Yeah, because I feel like, to be fair, they had good dialogue when they were all imprisoned.
Yes.
They can bounce back off each other. And to be fair, again, they did show how he cured them as well. And like, you know, they talked, and, you know, we got to see Sandman come back to human form. Like, so there is that. But yeah, it felt like they were just kind of there in a way. Like, if you took those two out of the movie still would have been dope. Like, it wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have missed much. He was just, but I appreciate that they were there. And I just love how it's weaved together, bro. Because you got your Raimi Spider-Man villains and Spider-Man, and then you got your Andrew Garfield. You know, so it was really cool how they did that. And then and Spider-Man, like Tom Holland, didn't have anything. All he had was the universe of the shared universe here. So he had, you know, MJ and Ned and, you know, May and Hat. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
So dude, we gotta watch it again.
Yeah. Like, I'm probably going again tonight. I'm probably going to see it tonight, because when I left the theater last night, I was like, did I just see that shit?
I know, right? I could have, you know,
like, what the hell?
The beginning got me a little slow. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was.
The first half, maybe not even the first half, but like the first third, let's say the first act.
Hey, well, what about that reveal, though?
Which one?
The lawyer.
Let's talk about the lawyer. Yeah. All right. Fucking Matt Murdock, bro. Like, you know, and I'm so glad it was Matt Murdock and not Daredevil.
Yes.
Because I didn't want Daredevil to steal the thunder, so to speak, for a Spider-Man movie.
Exactly.
But for him to have his first on-screen MCU appearance, and again, this is a Sony film, but they collab, so it's like, because that Matt Murdock.
That's dude. MCU, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Charlie Cox is dope. I love Daredevil, dude. I love that show. I loved all 3 seasons.
I think that was the best of those Netflix series.
I think so too. I think Punisher was second.
Punisher was the shit.
And then Luke Cage.
We're going to see those guys. Then Luke Cage.
Yeah.
All of them was good. I still haven't finished Jessica Jones. I know we're going off course, but I still haven't finished the 3rd season of Jessica Jones. I
didn't even watch the second, bro. The first was a little rough.
The first one was good. The second one is a little rough, but it's good. It's really good. It is good.
One of these days, one of these rainy days, I'll throw it on, and you know. And yeah, I know a little off track on that, but still, like, that's dope. I don't know if they're gonna bring everybody, but I know now we have him back. He's Daredevil. They made a point to show that it was him.
Yep.
When he caught the fucking brick, like, that was dope. I'm like, okay, So he's definitely in. He's not just some actor. Like that's him. That's Daredevil.
Yep.
So I don't know. And I was talking to my buddy about that yesterday. I know it's a little straying, but I don't know how they're gonna do it. If they're gonna bring him back as like a TV show, I don't think Disney Plus stuff is gonna be great for the Netflix style. Because let's be real. I mean, Daredevil and Punisher are definitely like R-rated.
Oh yeah, you can't make that a G rating. You really can't, especially the damn Punisher. That was shit. That was like Rambo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, but either way, I'm stoked that he's here.
Absolutely.
I don't care how they do it. Like, that's like when they say they're bringing Deadpool. Cool. He's here. I don't care how they. If the same thing, right? If that was Daredevil, let's say this is actually Daredevil, and he's in a Spider-Man movie or something, that's fine because that's the movie, and that movie's geared to a PG-13 or something. But if he's solo,
right,
we need to have that Marvel Knights style. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised Disney Plus, like 2 years from now, you have a section, and it's because they have to do it like that, and it'll be like your Marvel Knights section. That's more
or like Marvel Max. Remember, like the comics, like.
There you go.
Yep. Or I was thinking, what if they just put it on Hulu since they own most of Hulu? Because they have the other Marvel shows over there, like Runaways and MODOK, and
that's right.
And they just make the flip in people's brain because they're so used to Netflix. They're like, well, hey, you know what? Daredevil season 4 or whatever, it's on Hulu. People are like, oh shit.
Exactly.
And then they double dip because they're getting the Hulu money and they're getting their Disney Plus money. So
that makes sense. I never thought about it like that. And then that would entice everybody to get that triple package that they have.
Yep.
And then there you go. You just got it like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They could do it. I mean, I don't know. Riley, you said, I feel like Toby will return because they didn't end up killing him in the end when they easily could have to make it emotional. Yeah, I think they left everything open-ended, which is interesting. And it was really interesting, too, because the way I was thinking about this after watching it, they left it sort of where if contracts, for whatever reason, don't go through, negotiations between Sony and Marvel, the way they ended the movie feels like they could just cut ties completely.
That's true. Yeah. They could. They definitely could do that. And I mean, it's open-ended to where they can also bring them back in. And I think with the popularity, because I mean, I got people saying to me, like, I had friends come out the theater and was like, this is just as big as Endgame. In some way, I feel this is bigger. And I think and I think that's a fair assessment to say that, because you're getting the Marvel Netflix stuff crossing over. Then you're having the Sony films really crossover.
Really, yeah.
With the Marvel set, like really now it's really, because the stuff that was in that Sony universe when it relates to Tom Holland and Tom Holland Spider-Man, it's still built specifically for the MCU. Yes, it's a Sony movie, but it's built specifically for the MCU.
Right. That's why we have Doctor Strange in there, and we had Iron Man.
Exactly.
And talking about the events of previous MCUs. Now we're throwing in 2 other Spider-Mans, and so it's a weird hybrid movie. I don't really know, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I hope, and I don't want to take away from Tom Holland, but I hope that Toby, it might be too, God damn, it was so cool to see Toby, man. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know if he would, but with Andrew Garfield, it would make more sense. I think I would love for them he needs another movie or 2. Or, you know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, I would not be shocked we get a Spider-Man movie and then they throw in somehow. I mean, they did the whole plug with Miles Morales there too.
I was gonna say that with Electro.
I wouldn't be shocked. We do a Spider-Man movie, a Spider-Man movie. I would not be shocked at this point.
No, because I don't know what's happening. We'll talk about Electro here, but because the end credits, the other end credits, the Doctor Strange trailer, the multiverse is still happening. So with that said, it's like maybe they could do you know, I don't want to, they can't call it Into the Spider-Verse because that's, you know, the animated, but they could do some type of Spider-Verse or Solo, or I don't know, but you're right. And because of what Electro said, which, speaking of, what did you think about Electro this time around?
Total upgrade, the way it should have been in the first movie. And I mean, but it actually made me respect the old one the way it was, because it was like, what happened to you? You had a comb over and buck teeth. Now you look like you on the cover of GQ. What happened? You just had a total upgrade of that character. And I just thought that was funny. And also, I mean, he was hard to handle. He was hard to deal with. He was giving them a lot of go. I don't know how they would have. I mean, anytime Doc Ock had to step in, he was almost on godlike level with that damn arc reactor, and that was cool. Like, I
That
didn't
was
see
cool.
that part coming in. Like, damn it, that makes so much sense. Whoever wrote that, chef's kiss. That's just perfect.
Because he used Tom Holland's, you know, kindness and everything to their advantage, and you know what I'm saying. I was like, dude,
Exactly.
this Electro is badass, and just how he, you know, he portrayed the character. I was like, this world's energy is way different, and he's like super power hungry, and he's like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was, you know, that was badass. And the fact that he brought that up was like, oh, I was kind of hoping you were black. I wish it was we got to be Black Spider-Man somewhere. And I was like, okay, cool, man, because I half thought a Miles would show up in this movie, but then I was like, that may be too overkill. People are like, it's like that meme with like fucking like you know, Vince McMahon, where it's like, he's like, oh, and it gets even like crazier. You're like, well, here's Toby, here's Andrew, and then Miles, and it's like, I think it'd be too much for people. People's heads
would have been too much.
That'd have been too much.
I wanted to see it, but I was like, that's too much. Not right now. Let's hold something back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just that, you know, just that give them the whole WrestleMania.
but what a way to introduce Miles if they did. Like,
absolutely.
Because I hate the internet. Because they'll be like, so and so's reportedly cast as Miles, or they'll announce it. This guy's officially Miles Morales. Like, I don't want to know that shit.
Exactly.
That would have been just so cool if he popped in. Yo, even if it was like no actor has been casted and it was just the outfit and just somebody voiced over him, and like,
exactly, that would be dope.
See what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. I almost wish, like I said, like I was saying at the top of this, it was an open secret that we knew we were going to get Garfield. We knew we were going to get Toby in this movie. Wouldn't it have been? How would you have felt if you didn't know anything about it? And some people actually, you know, some people ran away from the trailers. Some people didn't want to see anything on reading anything about it on the internet. But going into it not knowing that, and then seeing them pop on screen, that would have been fucking nuts.
Dude, you would have had to be living under a fucking rock, bro. Like, for real, or you were locked up. Yeah, no, hell, even locked up, dude. The leaks come, people hear shit. So I was like, how do you know? It's not even like social media. Even it's just, it was the worst kept secret. Exactly. Like, you know, we all knew. You know, it's just so. It would have been so hard, man.
I think they did a good job with the marketing too, by hiding them like that. I do give them credit for that. For, like, we know what's coming, but they just weren't gonna show nothing. And I think that was the best way to do it, to keep it that open secret.
Yeah, but they goofed up, man. Because when you as people like us, right, who work with video and editing, and you know, when I watched that trailer, and you know, you saw the lizard get hit, you know, and it's like, well, wait a minute, that didn't work right. And even that wasn't even our trailer, but the US trailer, I was like, that perspective, I'm like, who the hell are they diving towards? They're not even going at Spider-Man. And then when you see Spider-Man land, I called that shit. When you saw him land in that trailer, the shit next to him on the left and right were like blurred, like this, like there was some weird distortion because they ghosted him out. And I saw that in the trailer, and I was like, yo, dude, they're all landing right there. That's just a cool scene for a theater. Like, they all just land, and you're like in a superhero pose. And I'm like, you ain't fooling anybody. Like, I know they're in there. Like, you don't make goof ups like that in a video trailer. You know, that wasn't an artifact that happened. You guys intentionally erased Spider-Man's. Like, you know, so it's like, yeah, it's rough, man. I mean,
and you know, it's all about marketing and ticket sales. And I think they kind of knew that. like this is kind of obvious, but they're gonna point it out.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like they I think it was a case of they know that we know, but they're not gonna. They're like, we cannot neither confirm nor deny it. Like
going back to what you said, Andrew Garfield did a damn good. I mean, these guys are actors, right? They did and when they asked him about it, he was like, "No, I am not in the movie. I don't know where they're getting this from." I was like, "Damn, maybe he's not in the movie."
No, I seen those interviews too, and I was just like, "You're full of shit, dude. I know what you're doing. You're an actor, all right? Like, because what can you do, right? If some publicist asks you a question, you have to say no."
I think we seen the same thing with John Majors in Loki when they were asking him about what was it, Crane, the character he played, Crane, when they was asking him about that, was he in it? And he was like, no, he just lied to him, was like, no, I'm not in it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what Andrew did, straight up lied. And I didn't hear anything from Toby.
Nothing.
They locked his ass away. He had no press. He had no contact with anybody, bro. I was like,
matter of fact, that's the first time I seen that brother since what was the movie he was in? The Great Gatsby? I haven't seen him in movies in a long time.
Yeah,
so even seeing him on screen was like, damn, it's Tobey Maguire. Oh shit.
And he looked great. I don't know if they like de-age. Yeah. He's not old, but it's 20 years since Spider-Man.
Right.
He didn't look good. He looked good. I think they all look good. I know they did a little de-aging on Doc Ock.
Absolutely. Yeah, they did. Yep.
But he,
make him look like the way he appeared 20 years ago.
Yeah. But still. And speaking of, from a visual standpoint, any de-aging technique, anything they did, it looked natural.
It did.
It looked natural. I didn't even like think about it until like after the fact. I'm like, wait a minute. He did. He looked younger because I seen the interviews with him, and he's a much older guy now.
Gentleman now.
So, but it wasn't like that Luke Skywalker reveal or Princess Leia and Rogue One. Like they've gotten a lot better at doing like subtle changes. I feel like some of those are a little too drastic, where you're like, that's fake.
Yeah, you get that whole uncanny valley thing, and it's just like, and I mean, especially with
Tarkin.
Yeah, Tarkin was creepy. That was kind of it was at the time, it was cool for the narrative of the story, but it was kind of, I think they could do.
Bro, it disconnected me. It disconnected me hard. Like, really? Yeah. Because I love Rogue One. I really do. Yeah. But every time Tarkin was on screen, I was like, this is fake. Like, it just totally, it pulls me out of, and I want to go into a movie and go to this fantasy, whatever we're watching. Right. And like, I get pulled out immediately and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is a movie.
And I thought they made the character a little too tall. Because I don't remember, I mean, I know Peter Cushing, he's a tall gentleman, but I just think like how they, whoever they used to stand in to put the face on, he was just a little too tall. I was like, damn, dude.
Well, I don't
be that tall.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna do it, but if they did in like 10 years or so, and they do like a, anniversary edition re-release or directors something, they could like improve. They can go over because this isn't like back in the day where they may or may not have the original. Like they have all this stuff, so they have the original masters. They maybe improve it, as the tech gets better. Because, like you said, like they was kind of starting out with this tech, and it's getting better and better and better, and it's also a little more, scarier too if you you think about it. But
I mean, think about it. We even with Robert Downey Jr., I was thinking like, what's now that you having time reversal, multiverse of madness. The characters that died don't have to be dead anymore. So you can damn well get Robert Downey Jr. back into it, and then
just slightly de-age him a little,
if
they wanted to.
There you go. And if they want to, and there you go, he's there. And then to put him in an Iron Man suit, that's nothing but a digital asset at this point. They could just drop in anywhere, and there you go. Yeah. So it's weird.
Yeah,
but cool.
No, I think it's cool, and I think that's an interesting thing because they could use a Tony Stark as like a. I can't compare him to Luke Skywalker, but if enough time passes by in the MCU, they can bring him back and still get that kind of reaction from the viewers.
Absolutely,
because he's
gone. I wouldn't be surprised. I believe that's probably the plan too.
Yeah, somewhere in the works. He'll come back because of, like you said, that we have this whole multiverse. And dude, speaking of, I mean, the end credits, that whole Venom thing.
Yeah.
I actually think I like this direction.
I do too.
So, and if you guys still watching, I know there's not a lot of people watching because, you know, spoilers, but how he was there. So this is how I think it works, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of Carnage, they get teleported, that end credit scene. Now that has to do with Loki, if I'm assuming correctly, the show.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
That had nothing to do with Doctor Strange, had nothing to do with Spider-Man, had nothing to do with any kind of spell.
Right.
He's now, let's just call it our Earth. So Venom's here on our Earth. End the credits, the movie's over. Now this movie, same thing. It's in the same place in Mexico. He's still there. It's like, oh, okay, let's go outside. We went to the bar. So it's like not really any time had passed. He's talking to this guy. Oh, okay, there's a bunch of heroes here. What the hell? He makes references, you know, Iron Man, Hulk, Thanos, right?
Right. So
he's like still fresh. He just got here. When Spider-Man uncasts or Doctor Strange does the spell to make everybody forget, that's why he disappears.
Exactly.
So he's now back in his Venomverse movies, Tom Hardy.
Exactly.
But dropping the symbiote on the counter, that's dope.
That's awesome.
Because now Spider-Man, I don't know how, will get the thing. So I think that works. Because I was like, how's that going to work with Tom Hardy? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to see that black suit. And you know what? Where he is right now in the story, it's the perfect time for him to get that black suit. Because he's probably, you know, out there by himself, probably still has a little bit of doubt, still upset about what's happened. He gets that suit, you know.
Well, it gives him confidence.
Gives him confidence.
He gets, and if you remember in the comics, though, that's the weird thing. I don't know how they're going to do this shit because he got the suit in space in Secret Wars.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then when he comes back to Earth, he wore that from like 1984 to like 1988 or some shit, like in real life. Like for 4 years, Spider-Man was always wearing black.
No,
and he
remember as a kid, that was the first Spider-Man I remember seeing as a kid. It was because that was the time I was really getting
right. That's when we were really getting into it, and it was.
No, I remember seeing the black suit, and then going back, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's that suit. And, okay.
Yep. But in the comics, if you remember, he didn't know. Like he would hang the suit up, and he would go to sleep, and then all of a sudden he's sleepwalking, or I'd say he's sleep web swinging. So the suit, the symbiote, would come off the rack, go on to Peter Parker, and go out and go fight crime and do shit while Peter's asleep. And he'd come home, lay back in bed, crawl back onto the hanger, and then Peter would wake up and be like, "Oh man, I'm sore. Like what the hell? I didn't even, he didn't even know that the suit was. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting." Yeah. I don't know how they would do it, and if it is a multiverse, this is what makes me think is that, let's say at some point he gets the suit.
Yep.
I don't know how long it's going to take. Is it going to be the whole movie? Are they going to do this whole arc in one? I don't know. But at some point, if Tom Holland's wearing a black suit, at some point he removes the black suit. And what better way than do it like the comics and have Reed Richards help him get it off? Because we are going to get the Fantastic Four. So that's why I'm thinking this is how they're going to do it. And if so, is it going to get on another person named Eddie Brock in the MCU?
And then we get our spider logo.
But then what happens to this Tom Hardy verse? So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. Or it could go on. They could just totally derail from the traditional comic sense, and it can get on to Flash Thompson. Because he was Agent Venom in the comics.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I think, you know what? I think a little bit of both. Why not?
Yeah.
I think a little bit of both.
Well, it would kind of mix in a way because they can incorporate, Richards, Fantastic Four helping him get the suit off. So they're still staying they're in line. Because, even the MCU is a little different than the comics. But they still kind of keep that baseline of respecting the lore, and yeah, right. So they could alter it slightly, and he can get on to Flash Thompson or something. Maybe he gets injured and it's Peter's fault, and maybe that's why. Because in the comics, he was paraplegic. He lost his legs, and then he gets to wear the suit and he can move around and do that, government, the top secret black ops shit. That dude, Agent Venom's a badass run. If you guys haven't read it.
Story. Yeah, read that. That is damn good.
Yeah.
Also, about this story, I remember a story, but I know you're a big Spider-Man comic buff. Doesn't this story kind of remind you a little bit of the Spider-Man story? What was it called? One More Day, when Aunt May dies. It
reminded me of One More Day. It kind of reminded me of the Happy Birthday arc, and something else. Like I said, they mixed. There's influence and inspiration from a few different story arcs in the comics.
Yep.
And I think it's great. It's great that they do that, and that's kind of what MCU's been doing too. Like they pull some of the creme de la creme of the story arcs, and they somehow make it work for a motion picture, live action. So yeah, I felt that way too. It really, I'm just so glad Aunt May died.
Yeah.
And not in a malicious way.
Yeah, just for the sake of the character and the story arc, it made sense. Because like you said, when she said that all power comes great responsibility, I was like, oh shit.
I was like, she gone. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yep.
I knew it. And I was like, you know what? He needs that. Like you said, he hadn't ever had to really deal with any like struggles. I mean, really, he didn't.
Yeah.
He had high school struggles, friends, girlfriends, whatever. But either Iron Man was always there to save his ass, or somebody else.
Exactly.
Or whole team, Avengers. Like it didn't matter. He never felt like, or Nick Fury was there, and Far From Home or whatever, and like
always had a big brother.
Yeah.
He always had like a big brother.
Which honestly, I kind of liked, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I would just say I kind of liked how they handled Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I think this was the best we saw Strange in any movie. I do. I really feel that way. I mean, I love Doctor Strange. I love the Doctor Strange movie. But
Me too.
For some reason, with him in the Spider, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Doctor Strange this time.
Well, I think partly, I think, was that badass scene with him fighting Peter, right?
Mirrorverse.
Because he's like, yo, this is my world, dude. Like, you're so disoriented, you don't know shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I loved that. I was like, that's what made Doctor Strange so dope, like the movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yes. And you're right, it felt lacking. Like when they threw Doctor Strange in the Avengers and all these other movies, he's just kind of like like Wanda, same thing, just like, okay, whatever. But let me see what your potential is, bro. Doctor Strange didn't do anything really like that. I mean, at most, I think in Infinity War, he duplicated himself a bunch to confuse Thanos. But
exactly,
I love that mirror, dude. That shit is so cool. They tone people down. So I thought that whole scene was amazing, and I like how, because I was fearful. We talked about this before in the trailers. I was like, fuck. Yeah. Now he's got Doctor Strange helping him. We had Iron Man helping him, so, but he didn't really help him. So, I mean, kind of, sort of in the beginning ish, but it was more like, well, I understand he gave him so now we understand with the hot toy, like that was, he can cast the dealie to capture them and put them in the cell.
Exactly.
But I mean, otherwise, Spider-Man did beat him. And left him hanging over the Grand Canyon, which was pretty funny. Like, and Toby and Andrew, they're like, dude, you were hanging out at the Grand Canyon. You should have been here helping us. Like, I was like, dude, okay, that's the thing, dude. The banter between those guys, and they did the thing.
I could have watched that for 2 hours.
I know. Seriously. I know.
That was just great. I was loving it. I was like a big kid. That whole scene, just watched the three of them.
When they were on the catwalk or whatever there at the statue, and they had that few minutes of just small talk between all three of each other.
Right.
I was like, okay. And then when they were in the building, they came in and they did the little pointing there, like the You know, like the three Spider-Mans. I was like, okay. I like, dude, this is cool, man. Like and it sucks because, you want to go see it because it's, you've watched Tom Holland, right? So it's like, I don't want to say it's his movie, but it's his trilogy. So it's weird in a way, right? Because everybody's like, oh yeah, let's get another Spider-Man movie. Let's check it out. But then it gets like kind of overshadowed because we have the other Spider-Mans and then we have other villains. And it's like, I don't know what this movie is, but they did a great job at really keeping it focused though on Tom Holland. They did. While still showing us everything we wanted.
I didn't feel that, and I always bring up the older X-Men movies because I remember going to see those movies in the early 2000s and always feeling, because I was a big X-Men fan, and then you look, and coming in the 90s, you had that X-Men, the X-Men animated series just did such an excellent job bringing what was in the comics onto the screen. So then when you got those X-Men movies and you're seeing characters just underplayed, underpowered, story not being told on screen for one reason, you're like, this guy's bad, and you're trying to explain to your friends like why that character does that or why they do that, or like Bishop, or you see them seeing things happen to those characters that really wouldn't happen in the comic books, like that would actually empower that character, not kill that character.
Yes,
you start seeing all those inequities, and I felt just so underwhelmed. And to get a movie like and I say this has been this way with most of the MCU, I've never left out of theater feeling that I didn't get my money's worth. When I left out the theater, I felt completely satiated. I was like, yes, this did I just see that? Like, really? They probably gave me too much.
That's kind of how I felt with this movie.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I felt exactly. Like, because I didn't like the X-Men movies, and I'm an X-Men fan. I'm covered in X-Men Inc. I've loved, and I hate the Fox movies, and that's cool for you guys. And I don't like them. Like you said, animated series brought the comics to life, and they respected the comic story. The Chris Claremont runs, like they just it was in the art stuff. Yeah, even the art, dude. It was So when the movies came out, I too saw them in theaters, and I was like, well, that was a fucking letdown. Because it didn't seem right. It's like, oh, you just took a property and just kind of went with it and winged it. You know what I'm saying?
Like they watched The Matrix and was like, okay, let's do this and give some people some powers, and we gotta have a guy with the claws. So there you go.
Yeah.
And that's all the thought that went into it. So.
Yeah, I hated him personally, but I feel like this, and I'm the same in that respect with this movie. Like with Spider-Man, I was like, there's too much. Like in a good way though, because it left me with like, damn, okay, Andrew Garfield needs more movies. I need to see Toby again. What the fuck's going on with the symbiote suit? What's gonna happen to Spider-Man now? He's I'm telling you, bro, that last scene was my favorite. Just seeing that brief moment saying, okay, they conveyed the fact, but just through imagery, because he didn't talk. That whole scene, there's no dialogue. It's all visual. He moves into a shitty apartment. He's creating his own suit by himself. And now he's out swinging. And you can't, it's fast. He doesn't really get to stop. But, dude, that looks like a classic Spider-Man suit. And like you said, I think he took inspiration from the other two heroes because they were, and it's like, this is badass. He is now Spider-Man. He doesn't have anybody holding him back. His family's gone. Everybody he knows doesn't exist. I knew that was coming too. I knew when he met with MJ and Ned. I knew it. I was like, he ain't gonna tell him.
Yeah.
He'll hold the burden to keep them safe. And so that's he's completing his hero journey essentially.
Exactly.
And then he's gonna be starting his new adventure. So like, to me, that last scene, perfect, man. No words need to be spoken. I got everything they were trying to convey to me just through the visuals.
Yep. And that's when when you're telling a good story, when you have all that together. And it blew me away. It really blew me away emotionally. I was excited. And I'll tell you a little secret. I've cried just about in all the Spider-Man because I just connect with that character. I'm a real big Spider-Man fan.
Facts.
But with this one, it was just like, damn, it just hit all the feels. And it really made, man, they just did a good job. They did such a damn good job.
They nailed it. It didn't feel, I was a little worried because MCU does this stuff, right? Where I hate it. I don't know if Joss Whedon started it, but I absolutely hate it when there's a serious moment and then they do the MCU joke, right? They deflate the situation, and I didn't like that, right? I didn't really feel that here.
No.
Aunt May died. That shit sucked, and it stayed. Yeah. And the only comedy was good comedy. The interaction with, you know, all the Spider-Mans, or even like Ned. He's like, I promise I won't turn into a super villain, like, you know, or whatever he said. I was like, all right, like, it's funny. Like, that's cool. That's
like, the webs come out of you.
That was great. That was great, man. Right. I love that. Yeah, Slim the Gremlins. Yeah, the suit was beautiful. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And yeah, let's talk about that. When Andrew caught MJ, and I called that, remember, on a couple live streams, I was like, that's Andrew catching her. I knew it, because he has to redeem himself. And the fact that he was able to give that exposition in the movie, because keep in mind, even though they're not that old, some of these cats ain't seen the Amazing Spider-Man or the Tobys. So I didn't feel like they did an over exposition, you know, where they're like, you know, well, let me explain the whole history of us. I think they did a good job at how they were able to handle it, because they can add exposition into the film, because Toby don't know who the fuck he is, and Tom doesn't, so they can be like, oh, you had somebody like, you know, and he had mentioned that he had fought an alien in goo, you know, he's talking about Venom. You know what I mean? Like, just weird. Like, so I thought that was really a good way to do it. And when Andrew was able to talk and show how bitter he was, he had changed. You know, he couldn't save her. That whole connection, like you said, when they came to the rooftop and Tom was like, "Go away, you guys don't understand," and then like they both open up and they're like, "Actually, yo,
we understand more than anybody.
I lost my uncle and I lost my girl that I couldn't save," and so yeah, exactly. When he was able to save her, again, that was another instance where no words were spoken, but you can see the emotion and reaction on his face from saving her, how he felt.
Man, my theater was one of the most lit.
I just got goosebumps again, dude.
Because my theater went the fuck off. Like when that scene happened, when he quit him, everyone's like just clapping, just
yeah, dude.
Because they were just happy for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, just to get that.
So good. He's so good, dude. And I don't think Toby's a bad Spider-Man either. I gave him a little more credence because he's like the OG of this generation. But dude, Andrew was phenomenal, and I don't know. I mean, Toby too. Again, it's just, oh my god. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing all of them again, either on their own or. But Andrew really got me. I was like, yo, he's fucking Spider-Man, dude. Like Peter Parker Spider-Man, like the stuff we kind of grew up with, and some of the story arcs, and like he didn't feel like Tom Holland. But now I'm thinking Tom Holland's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So
they gave him something. They gave him enough to work with this time around. And I mean, what we're looking at is a complete reset.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I love. It's like, you know, usually the third movie is like the end of a, you know, traditional arc, even though these movies are like TV shows in the MCU. It's a saga. It continuously goes on. But this is a complete reset.
Well, it's a weird reset too, right? Because when he sends all the villains back home, what had happened was they had been pulled, if I'm understanding this correctly, they were pulled into our Earth, right? Moments before they died. Because they even said that. They're like, I was fighting this, and he was like, I was about to die. And then I don't remember, and now I'm here. Like, so they all came before the moments before their death, which is weird. Because then does that erase the movies? Because now in that universe they live and they're cured.
Yeah. It totally rewrites those movies because now they're alive now. Yeah,
I would think so. And like you said, he just Slim Grimace. I want to say the fact that the previous two Spider-Man trilogies are now MCU canon according to the multiverse. So satisfying, and it is. So but it's just weird. I don't know if you go back and watch those movies, you're gonna be like, hey, he didn't die. you know, right there.
Right.
Which is also weird because if
Yeah.
you know, if Green Goblin didn't, then Harry wouldn't turn into the Goblin either in the Spider-Man movies, because this like you know what I'm saying? So it's unless they don't give that much thought and they're like, those are old movies. This is how it's going to be now. They lived and whatever. If you want to enjoy the movies that they were, then go watch them.
Right. So now we have, let's say, even if they don't do movies, let's say if they want to go back to the first Spider-Man, first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, you can do a comic book and pick it up from right there. Now, you know, Goblin lived. What happens to Harry?
Right.
You know, you can continue these stories. I mean, it's the kind of the same thing we're seeing with Star Wars. Like the whole, I mean, if you just, you know, for all the in the sad, because it's like a lot of people that's probably, you know, that died a couple, you know, died 10 years ago before the Mandalorian came out. They thought Boba Fett's story was over.
You're right.
And it's not.
Now, you know, I don't know how I feel about it or not. And it's a little bit of a segue, but because I only say this because they're under the same umbrella. They're all under Disney. But the fact that this Spider-Man is Sony, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It's still MCU. It's all a big mess. But the fact that they did this and they brought in other Spider-Mans from other universes makes me feel like in the Star Wars world, and I don't know how I feel unless they do it right, makes me feel like they can even now more so do this whole world between worlds deal in Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
yeah, again, anyway, let's talk Hot Toys, because that's what we're all about anyway.
Yes.
So are we gonna get an Andrew and Toby Hot Toy?
I'm gonna have to steal this from my guy. I would say yes. Absolutely. If not, they're leaving money on the fucking table. And Hot Toys is known for doing. They've done that a lot of times. I mean, we're still waiting for an announcement from another DeLorean.
Yep.
So they've done that before, but how big this is, and I mean, come on, Spider-Man is their new Iron Man. So I think if anything, we're definitely gonna get those figures.
I mean, can you imagine, bro? Bear with me. Can you imagine? It's under the No Way Home movie title, Hot Toys, right? So that's the movie brand, and we get a Tobey Maguire, and we get an Andrew Garfield, in 2022 versions of head sculpts, like, you know, so they have a regular mask, and then they have, dude, I'm telling you, that's fire right there. That's fire.
Yes, absolutely. It's money. It is money.
The collector, Sony was close to going under. They're very lucky they kept the Spider-Man franchise. 100% agree. Sony doesn't have a lot going on.
All they got is Spider-Man and PlayStation. That's it.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, if you look at it, that kind of goes hand in hand right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. They're holding on to Spider-Man with their dear life. However contract they had set up originally, you know. And the thing is, you got to remember, with Universal and Fox, because I've been following this stuff for years. With Universal and Fox, the deal was, because Marvel too, if you guys don't know, Marvel is constantly going out of business, bro. Marvel went bankrupt several times.
That's why we lost a lot of properties.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a lot of film rights and stuff because they went bankrupt in the 90s. This is in the years when remember when, like, in 97 when Spawn and Image was the shit.
Yep.
They were done.
They were done for. Bad. And so that is what happened. Marvel said, you know what? We're going to sell our B-list heroes, which wasn't Spider-Man per se, but you know, like or not B-list, I'm sorry, they're A-tier heroes at the time, because it was X-Men and Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, and they all went to a different, you know, Fantastic Four went to Universal or Fox, I'm sorry. Hulk went to Universal, you know, X-Men went to Fox, so forth. So those were their heavy hitters, and they're like, well, shit, we got to make money. We're going under. So they just gave the rights out to their top tier. Because remember, Avengers, Iron Man, all those guys were like B-list heroes. They really weren't. They were a little bit in the Silver Age in the 60s. But let's talk about, like, generational wise. Like, once the, like, late 70s all the way to the end of 90s is X-Men was like fire. So that's how they got all their money. And the contract stipulated that, like, you have the property indefinitely, bro, as long as you make a movie within X amount of time. So if they don't make a movie and time's running out and it expires, they lose the contract. That's why they were pumping out so much crap, dude.
Exactly.
And that's why Fox was like, you know what? Or Disney were like, we're just going to get Fox. We'll negotiate how we can do it. One, because they need the X-Men back. They need a Fantastic Four back. And two, I really believe they want the rights back, the full rights to Star Wars. Because if you remember, Fox had all the movie rights. That's why we still don't have the theatrical releases of the original trilogy, right? Because they had it. It was shuffled around through the decades, and Fox has that shit. So anyway, a little bit of a, we stray off course, but that's the whole point. So now they built this empire of B-list heroes and turned them into A-list heroes within the MCU. Yep. So that's where we're at now. And it's like, okay, so Spider-Man's there. Yeah, Sony is hanging on to that, bro.
And I think the deal is working. I think it's working for both of them. I mean, why not join together and they can all make money together?
Oh, agreed.
It's a beautiful
thing. It is. It works. Because they're not in this adversarial, hey, why did you do this? No, I don't know the inner workings of it, but I'm sure somewhere, someone there's an approval process.
Yep.
Or Marvel's like, okay, you can use Spider-Man, but anything you're doing has to go through us, and we got to green light it. If it doesn't fit within our universe or what we like, because he's still our property, you just have the movie rights.
Exactly. Do you think there's still, because even though we're getting these little hits of Venom being part of the MCU and being part of this Tom Holland Spider-Man universe, I still feel it's like real little. It's like real subtle still. Do you think that's because they're doing it real subtle just because they're still, and I'm saying this would be more with Marvel and Sony, that they're still kind of like, well, more, I would say this would be more Marvel. They're still kind of like not sure about those Venom movies, because the Venom movies, and I think you would agree to this, they're not of the same quality or the same caliber.
2 thumbs down.
There you go.
All right.
Personally, guys, I liked Venom. Because I don't exactly think it's a great representation of Venom.
That's what hits me.
But I do find those movies to be entertaining.
They're entertaining. They're entertaining. Yeah. They're entertaining. They're about as entertaining as the X-Men movies to people who've never read an X-Men comic. Because keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
Just because, Fox released fucking 11 X-Men movies doesn't mean that they just did it to do it. Like, they were also very popular. They had a huge fan base for the most part. But that sure as shit wasn't the comic book fan base. So that's what I mean. So with Venom, yeah, the movie's entertaining. My mom watched Venom. She liked it. She doesn't know anything about Venom. You know what I'm saying?
So for the casual fan or the casual watcher, they will like it. They will like it. At least I'll say this with Venom. At least the damn characters look like they're supposed to look.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, minus
Venom, yeah.
But at least he looks like that. You look at those X-Men movies, you be like, who the fuck are they? Oh, I know that's Wolverine or Logan, but I don't. Yeah.
No, right. Exactly. I mean, and they did look like Venom and Carnage, right? But again, I get that they're cool. They're okay. Like you said, they're entertaining movies, but I think Marvel knows, and Marvel has a plan anyway, and it's gonna start getting out of control, because I feel like this has never been done before in Hollywood or any kind of medium in this respect, where you're kind of having this joint collaboration. And the weird thing is that Spider-Man, even Venom, all that's still Marvel owns those. Right. It's just they're being leased to Sony. So now as Sony expands, let's just call it the Spider-Verse, Marvel has to kind of bring the reins in a little, because if it gets too crazy, they're going to be like, well, wait, how the fuck, now you're going to bring in Black Cat or Silver Sable or Mobius. And, how is Marvel going to be like, yeah, we need to hold on. We have a vision too, but I know you have this leased through us, and I think they look at that and with Feige, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had stated that when X-Men comes, it's going to be all new, because they don't want to pull from, this is not your creation. Yeah. I mean, technically he did work on those movies, but he, it's not his, why take a property like that you got back and use the same actors and follow this? No. We're going to do it in the MCU way. Right. Exactly. So when they look at the Venom movies, they're like, they're not that good.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to, that's why I'm saying it's weird having the symbiote in the universe and having Venom go back. Exactly. Yeah. Like some degree, I don't think Tom Hardy's Venom will be in MCU. They're prepping for him to meet Peter in Sony's Spider-Verse. So, but again, that's weird. Again, see now, how are they pulling the reins in? Because why have a symbiote in the MCU at the end credit scene?
But here it is. I also think that they could do a course correction. We've seen them do that, but we've seen that with some of the Star Wars movies. I think they can do a course correction. They could say, look, we know what you did with those Venom movies. We're going to do them. All right, we're going to put our MCU spin on it. We're going to tone down on some of the shtick that we're known for those movies, and we're going to kind of put, like you say, pulling the reins on them a bit. I could see them doing that too, and I don't think they'll get too much backlash from Sony, because I think Sony will look at it like, well, we saw what they did with Spider-Man, because the Garfield Spider-Man movies wasn't pulling in the money, the numbers that these MCU movies are pulling in.
Right.
They weren't. So I really think they'll look at that, they'll take that in consideration and be like, okay, we'll let them take it and run with it. They can only level it up. So I think we'll see that if he does eventually get in the MCU, they'll level up.
Well, what I will say is I think because of that, it's not, I don't want to say it's Sony's fault that the Amazing Spider-Mans, the Andrew Garfields, had failed so much as what they got going on at Marvel right now, the MCU, and how Kevin Feige has things like set up and he's 10 steps ahead. He's got a plan, like that kind of cohesiveness right there. Those other properties like X-Men, Spider-Man's, they didn't have that. They just felt like they felt like Venom. It's just this movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And Venom's a little bit different. They're so I think with Marvel's hands in the Spider-Man movies, that's why they're so well received.
Exactly.
Because they know how to they just know how to form the movies, into their vision. Yeah, their formula is freaking solid. Now, I will say one thing that I don't think a lot of people had talked about was John Watts, who's the director. And he's been the director for all 3 Spider-Mans, all Tom Holland. This is his. So I thought that was, that's pretty badass. For example, like look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy. That thing's a mess. But having this guy do all 3 movies, and you can tell the style stays the same through all 3 movies.
Right.
And the tone and everything. And I'm like, yo, kudos to you, sir. Mm-hmm. And kudos again, because he did a fantastic job handling this trilogy.
Fantastic job. I mean, it's solid. You go back and watch all 3 of those Spider-Man movies. They flow. They really do flow.
They'll flow together. Because remember, now it's over. Like, we're gonna obviously have more but this trilogy is done. So
it's done.
If you when it comes back out or whatever, when we get it on Blu-ray or whatever, and you want to sit down and watch all 3, Spider-Mans at, the comfort of your home and just chill, you're going to feel that tone throughout all 3 flicks. You're going to treat it as such. As the years go by, the decades go by, we're going to look at this as a whole trilogy, and it feels cohesive. It makes sense. It's all wrapped up from beginning to middle to end. And yeah, we have these little supplements of Peter and, Civil War and Infinity War Endgame. But, even with taking that out of the equation, those 3 movies are going to hold up as a really good trilogy, I believe, down the road.
I totally agree. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do that this weekend. I'll probably watch Homecoming and Far From Home tonight, then go back tomorrow night and see No Way Home again, and just be like, just to see how it all flows together.
It makes me want to watch.
Think about that. That was the same director.
Yeah, same director.
Point.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Mm-hmm. Same director on all 3 movies.
Lewis says, "What's up, guys? just got done with the
round 2 viewing.
round 2 viewing.
See, we need to have
That's
a round
awesome.
2, man. Round 1 was. Round 1 is kind of like that, you know how it is all the time, right? You know, you miss things. You're half the time it's like this fever dream, you know.
Yep.
Things are going, you know, fast. You're like, okay, what the hell did I just see? Holy shit! Oh my god, what the fuck? And then you come home, you process it, and then you're like, I need to go see it again, dude. To like fully, you know, now that you know what you're expecting, that anticipation is down. So now you have a more focused opinion, you know, as you see it in the second time or third time. Or
I saw it late last night. I was at the 12 o'clock showing, and I woke up this morning. I got into the house like 4 o'clock, and I woke up. And I had to get up early, so I was due at work. I was like, damn, it's a long night, but I got up, and then I got done working, started working and everything, and then an hour into my work, I was like, did I really just see that shit? Was that, like you said, was that a fever dream? Did that really happen?
Right.
That was awesome. That was fucking amazing.
And honestly, it's because of the two Spider-Mans, especially Toby, because it's 20 years, bro, or 15 years. So you're just kind of like, yeah, we think they're in the movie. Yeah, we're pretty sure. And then you see it and you're like, holy shit. Like, this is actually like, it makes me want to go back and rewatch the 3 Spider-Mans and then the 2 Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, because I ain't seen them in a minute. Like,
yeah, it's been a while.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, what the fuck are we seeing right now? And it's weird because we know, right? We already knew they were in it. So we're going in there, right? I know damn well all of us went in there where we're like, they're in it. They're in the movie. Right. So we know they're coming, and then you see them, but then you're just kind of like, yeah, exactly. It's fucking movie magic. And that doesn't happen much, especially in MCU films, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm not being overly critical, I don't think, because the Marvel movies, as good as they are, you know, as great as the formula they haven't caught me. Like, really I think Avengers 2012. That gave me movie magic.
That's movie magic.
You know,
till this day, no matter what they've done, I still think that's the benchmark in the MCU. And if you look at it, if you look at Hawkeye, and you look at any of the the Disney Plus series, they always reference Avengers 2012. Shit, in Endgame, they
go back to 2012.
They
like,
reference to 2012.
Yeah.
So that just shows you that movie is just something. I remember when that movie first came out and having a DVD or Blu-ray. I think I had the Blu-ray. Having a Blu-ray, and I remember me and my buddy we played it, and then we watched it, and then we played it again, and then we just had the damn Blu-ray interface just running throughout the whole time. And we were like, dude, I'm not gonna turn this off because it's the Avengers. You know, and it was just like amazing. It's like, it's the Avengers. Like, dude, it's the Avengers. It's not like the costumes suck, or it's just like I said, that gratification.
Yeah.
We got Thor fighting Hulk. Oh my God.
Hey, and when they built it properly, right? Because as fans growing up, so there's different fans, right? You know, you have fans that grew up as kids, as children, and adolescents reading comic books, and then to finally see them on screen, and then they have their solo films. That's what I'm saying. Like, we had Iron Man, we had Thor, you know, even that Hulk movie, whatever. We had, you know, Captain America. Being able to see that, and then at that moment when they all get to meet together for the first time, like, that's what hit me as a comic book reader. I was like, dude, I didn't think I would ever see this. I was disappointed with X-Men that seeing something that's fully representative of the comics, you know, like you said, the outfits, everything, you're just like, okay, I know they make some changes because it's real life, and, you know, they have to, they conform a little bit to the medium that they're distributing in. But, like, dude, that hit me so much, bro. Like, I was like, this, I never thought I'd see this. Like, yeah, I remember when we were reading comics back in the day, that shit wasn't cool.
No.
All right.
Not at all.
Like, to be like real talk, I mean, you know, oh, you nerd, you reading comics, or what, you like Star Wars? Like, you know, so the whole, the pendulum is shifted. You know, it's swung so far to, you know, nowadays it's like, it's more popular now, right?
It's like you're a nerd if you're not into it.
Right. That's so weird to me. In my head, I'm like, you know, people would like keep that shit to themselves a lot of the times.
Even when if I have somebody, like, recently I had a cable guy come in, and he was working in here, and I used to kind of like when I would have my collection back in the day, I would kind of like, yeah, well, you know, I would get the jokes like, oh yeah, you're the 40-year-old version, ha ha ha. You know, I would hear shit like that.
Right.
Now it's like people come in
Excuse me.
here and they're like, you know, and it's just amazing that it's that popular now. It's like it's the end thing, and it's kind of weird because it's like, damn, I'm used to kind of being like the outcast, or you know, kind of the joke at the butt of the joke, but now it's like you're the cool guy on campus.
Right. It's yeah, exactly. It's I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's like I'm kind of resentful, to be real, that. You know, because growing up, it was like, nah, dude, I've been into this shit since I was a kid.
We ate, especially in the being kids in the 90s.
Yep.
We ate so much shit.
Right. And now the same motherfuckers that probably picked on us are like totally into our shit.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, go back to your baseball and your other stuff, and you know, whatever it was that they, you know, look down their noses at us. You know what I'm saying? So on that one side, I'm like, But on the other side, I'm like, you know what? They did such a great job of taking the stuff that we love and getting it to a broader audience that that helps us, because now, again, harkening back to seeing Avengers, the first one in the theater, is that we get to have more of these experiences now where we can relive and you know, see this come to life, and you know, so it's a double-edged sword, bro. I mean, you know, had this not been that successful, I don't know if our streams would be very popular. No, I'm just saying, like, you know, it's a different, we wouldn't be getting, like, certainly no Disney Plus shows, things like that. There'd be no MCU. I mean, you know, so it's so cool to see all this. And there's, you know, they're not all home runs, you know.
They're not.
I mean, they're not. But
I think me and Will, we're totally in agreement with that. Like, damn it, I forget
the Eternals.
Thank you.
Yeah, that movie was trash, in my opinion.
Terrible.
I didn't like it.
If for people that like it, hey, more power to you. But it just didn't feel like an MCU movie. That felt like I don't even know what to say. It felt like it just did. I didn't connect with any of those characters.
No, it was slow, boring, and dramatic. And not to say that those qualities, well, boring is not really a good quality, but slow and dramatic are good. I mean, I grew up, remember, we grew up in, again, we didn't have MCU flicks. We watched movies, bro. I mean, dare I say films, you know?
Yeah.
Or we would go to Blockbuster or something and just rent something. What the hell is this movie about? Whatever.
When it came to TV shows, all we had was like Star Trek, Next Generation.
Yep.
You know, so
it's hard, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate slow and drama and stuff, but I just, again, like you said, I felt like it was disconnected, sort of, you know? Yeah. And you're trying to give me a suspension of disbelief that you just couldn't achieve. I was like, really? Like, these guys were around and nothing, and you're trying to, like, explain why they didn't get involved and all this, and this just tons and tons of backstory.
And it was just it was the first, as much as I love superheroes and comic book movies and all of that and everything that comes with the genre, I felt like, okay, this is one too many.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't feel like that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is one too many. We don't need this. We just don't need it.
I didn't want to have and I feel like we're getting it. I didn't want to have superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, we won't have to talk about Eternals. Obviously, some people in chat say they haven't seen it, and that's fine. Oh, we won't talk about the movie itself or the story, but that's what I feel like. Yeah, there's a little bit of fatigue, right? Like, for example, and not to say that they're bad, but I still haven't watched Loki. I still haven't watched Hawkeye.
Oh wow!
And it's not like, I know, right? And it's not like and I already know about it because, you know, it's the internet. It's unavoidable. Yeah. I don't think they have oh my god moments though that are that hardcore spoiling, you know. So I get it. Like I've got through, you know, people have told me about it. I've seen shit online. I'm gonna watch them. Yeah. It's just my flair, that desire, is not quite there. Where it was like when the earlier days of MCU, you're like, oh shit, yeah, we're going to, like, I went to go see Iron Man 2, bro, and there were no seats.
Yeah.
So we went home. We're like, well, I guess we're not seeing it. Because, you know, we didn't plan that shit out. We just went for the midnight viewing, but it was like jam packed. We couldn't get into a theater. I was like, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel that way about MCU right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, too much.
last night took me back to the
Yes,
2012 event.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Took me right back there. It was the same thing. I remember the Avengers at that time. I had never been to like a comic book convention or anything at that in 2012. And I remember going to the theater. It was like people were dressed up. Some guy was even dressed up like the Joker that night. I remember I was just looking through the pictures and I was like, wrong
movie.
company, but okay. I mean,
what you doing here? No, I just yeah. He's like, well, that's all I got, man. I gotta dress up. So it's like, all right, fair enough. Like
it was a party, and it was like that last night. And after COVID and everything, and to have people all together. And I mean, our theater was packed, and everybody was like, hell, even if I, whatever. Everybody was just ready.
Right.
It was just amazing.
It was, and you're right. It's like that is what I want. And again, they can't all be home runs, but like when things like this happen, it's gonna be hard to top, man. It's gonna be hard to top, man. I don't, Eddie in chat says the same thing. Avengers set such a high platform. Going to be hard to beat that. The only thing I could see getting these is either them building up X-Men, yes, or Secret Wars, double yes. I know they're going to be doing a Secret Invasion, but it's a Disney Plus show, and the comics are pretty dope. And I think what they'll do is Nick Fury will come back from space, something like that. We'll have some scrolls, but I don't know as a show.
I think that's going to be like the Nick Fury show.
Yeah, I think so. But a Secret Wars would have been dope. But here's the thing, guys. Secret Wars literally was written, and this goes through a lot of different things, but specifically Marvel Secret Wars was written to sell toys.
Yeah.
They were like, how do we do something where we get every hero around and make this crazy thing? And it was like toys and comic. It was like it was a marketing thing that they did. Exactly. Especially in the 80s with wrestling, and they brought it was this whole thing. You know what I'm saying, bro? It was like it worked. To their credit, it worked. But the storyline that came through that was cool. Secret Wars was like, it was okay. But after the fact is how we got our Black Suit Spidey and other, story arcs and things like that. So I don't know if they make a Secret Wars movie, how it'll work, especially now that I don't know if that ship sailed since a lot of the Avengers are done. And
I kind of think that ship kind of sailed.
Yeah, it's a little.
I think that's why they're like you said, they cherry pick all the best stories from the comics, and so it's not going to be what we got in the comic. It's going to be.
Yes, Eddie, we can talk spoilers. Sorry. No. If you type anything, we've already talked. If you just tuned in a little bit ago, we've been nailing spoilers. Everything we've said. I know we're kind of veering off because we've said a lot, but yes, seeing all the Spider-Mans together, seeing Aunt May die. Seeing Spider-Man make his own suit and come into his own flesh, so to speak. Like let's just say this because we didn't talk about this. That fucking Doctor Strange trailer.
Dude, we get the dark.
Right.
Doctor Strange. The
Supreme Strange, right? Is that his name?
Ooh, Woo. That shit right there.
That makes me that's a hype thing for me in that respect because I did watch the What Ifs and I thought that's cool that they're doing that. Like they're taking some of their animated shit.
Everybody agreed that episode of What If, the Doctor Strange episode, was probably the best episode of What If.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, so I mean, Doctor Strange. I don't know what's going on with that. So you got him. You've got the Supreme Strange. You've got Wanda in there. I saw fucking Shumagorath, dude. What the fuck was that? Did you see that shit? I was like, yo, was that Shumagorath? Fucking octopus thing with the eye. I was like, that's badass, dude. Like, I don't know. That was just cool. For those that don't know, this is a Doctor Strange thing, and Marvel vs. Capcom, even like, so I was like, all right, that was, dude. So yeah, I mean, that I'm gonna look forward to because again, I'm on your boat too. I love Doctor Strange. When he has his movie like that, that's cool, man. The mirror, all that, just the everything, that's dope. So I cannot wait to see where they're going with that. And I have no idea what the hell they're going to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really don't.
What is it? This is going to be another trilogy, and it's going to be, pretty much him in college. And I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool to try to see him reconnect with MJ and to rebuild that relationship. And who knows, her path now that she doesn't remember him may go totally different. We may see more of her, yeah, I'm at MIT, I'm doing education, stuff like that. Oh, but I'm doing modeling. And then Zendaya in real life is a model. So you can kind of pull, it's like we're being
right, the inspirations from the comics
really being pulled into. So
yeah, I think they could do that. And it's kind of weird how they do it though at the same time, right? Because you have I don't even know how the hell this works really with J. Jonah Jameson, which by the way, he was phenomenal. I'll say that. Absolutely love him.
Yes.
But the problem with that is, because I was going to say, okay, he's going into college. Maybe he starts taking photography. Because they didn't really touch on that in these movies.
He didn't.
At all, bro. So,
right.
But then he would get a job at the Daily Bugle, so to speak. He would be a freelancer. But, so I wonder, what the fuck, dude, they could do that. Because he doesn't know anymore. J. Jonah Jameson even, he was like, this guy's a coward. He should show himself and blah, blah, blah. So he could get a job there.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And do, freelance photos and have some interactions with him.
Right.
While he's in college, he's taking these classes, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
So that actually could work. Yeah. God damn. That could work. I was going to say it couldn't work, but I was like, well, wait, no, that totally could work. Like,
it's a complete reset.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this even more interesting. Because it's like the Spider-Man as we know it, that Spider-Man, that trilogy is done. That's done. This is a whole new other thing we're getting with all the same characters, but it's damn, they did.
Yeah.
They did a damn good job.
Real quick, Eddie, so that we talked about that a little earlier. He said everybody in the world would forget Spider-Man. So I don't know if they're being, literal with their words and their intentions in the film, especially when you were talking and we repeatedly are being hammered in about multiverse. I mean, we've talked about that in Far From Home, we're talking about that in here. We're talking about it in Loki. We're talking about it in fucking, all this stuff. They hammer in multiverse and all this.
Right.
So for him, to Doctor Strange to not say that, this spell will have everybody in the universe, especially when he's like, oh, these guys are coming from the other universes. He just said everybody on the planet, or everybody in the world. Everybody in the world. He used world as the word. So I don't know if we're just looking too deep into this, but yeah, because I'm thinking, other people in space, Nick Fury, if there's Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, none of these people are on Earth.
Right.
So I don't know the extent of the spell, I guess, right? It's up right now, as of now, there's no confirmation, so it's all speculation.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, I would definitely say like everybody that's off world that knew him, that knew Peter Parker as Spider-Man would know. So I'm thinking Captain Marvel would know. I'm thinking Nick Fury definitely would know. Or let me think about it. Does Nick Fury know? Well, Nick Fury does know. He does know Spider-Man.
Yeah, he went to his apartment.
He went to his apartment. remember that was a scroll.
Was it?
That was a scroll. Because remember, even in this movie, in No Way From Home, they was like, what are you talking about? Nick Fury has been off-world in space, for over a year. And he was like, what? What do you mean?
Oh,
they
yeah, maybe
had that
you're right.
moment in there. So, yeah.
Well, hell, I don't know.
But he would have met him at Tony's funeral. Because everybody was there at Tony's funeral. So
yeah.
He could have met him there. Could have.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but who knows? Some degree of, the Inhuman show was not good. That was supposed to be a movie, and then they decided to do some weird ABC TV show, and it lasted, a few episodes, and they just canned it.
Yeah, I never saw it.
It wasn't good.
Never saw it.
It just...
My brother went to the movies and saw it, and he was just like, he came back, I was like, how was it? And he just was like...
Yeah, because they put, the first 3 episodes in the theater.
Right.
And it just felt like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. It was just, just a TV drama show with really shitty budget and a decent budget, but just not movie material. That sucked. They blew their load too early.
When I saw Medusa's wig,
yeah, come on, bro. That shit was a joke. No. Bad cosplay.
Shit looked like Party City.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for, well, apparently anybody, because they can that shit quick. So because I like the Inhumans too, man, and the Terrigen Mist and all the stuff was weird, and that could lead into X-Men stuff too. There's so much that could like lead you in. Dirk, what's up, man? Glad to see you back in the stream again. Yes, but it's just been a little bit hectic. If you're just coming in, we are obviously talking spoilers, so be warned. If you need to bow out, that's cool. We are going to be doing other streams again, but right now, that's what we're talking about because the hype train is real. And it was like we were bursting. Like I messaged you last night, man. I was there. I was like, "You see this shit yet, man? Like you still awake?" I'm like,
up to that. I was like, "Oh shit, I was like, "Yeah, we gotta do this.
I gotta talk about this, man," because everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see it tonight," or "I'm gonna go see it this weekend." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm bursting." I called Sean, and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking hang up on you." And I was like, "No, wait, but you can." He's like, "No." I was like, "Dude, I like wanted to talk." He's just like, "Shut up," and I'm like, I can't, dude. I can't contain it. I gotta keep it. I gotta let it out, bro. I couldn't really talk to anybody. So yeah, it's just absolutely amazing, bro. We're gonna see it again, and dude, I don't even know. There's so much that between the two, Toby and Andrew, like this whole, I don't know, like my brain's still kind of wanting more. Yeah, wanting more. That was cool. That's what I'm talking about. With the fatigue of the Marvel movies, I'm not left with it, But with this movie, I want more. I don't know if it's gonna be another Tom Holland movie. Of course it is, but now I'm questioning things. Everybody was so phenomenal. I'm like, damn, bro, I'd love to see Willem Dafoe again. I want to see another Goblin. Doc Ock was freaking sweet. Even Electro. Like all this was like. All this crazy shit thoughts are going through my head where I'm like, dude, I want to see all these people again.
Yeah.
It was just too damn good of a movie.
It really was.
Yes, the brilliance of Willem Dafoe. He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
I mean, just the acting ability to switch from being this complete psycho. Just psychomaniac, maniacal, just
this Dr. Jekyll, killer. Mr. Hyde thing, man.
Right, to just flip to, oh my God, what have I done? And you feel for him like, damn, somebody help this little helpless old man. And then he's just a physical, just monster, just destroying. I mean, he was handing Spider-Man's ass to him more than a couple of times.
Yes.
Like, damn.
Speaking of,
to be stronger in this universe.
He was, he was OP, bro. He was like the boss. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yo, like Doc Ock was dope. Don't get me wrong. And Electro was pretty OP too with all the electricity. But like, yeah, Goblin was like, he ain't playing. Like, and because he's a little like, Tom Holland just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love that because we never really seen that out of him. Like even the actor when he was like, "Yeah, no, I just separate you because I'm gonna kill you myself." I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
oh man, oh okay, yep. Ooh, okay, yeah. All right,
exactly."
I was like, "This is down and dirty." All right, I love that,
and I
really love that.
When Andrew Garfield looked over there and then looked at Toby and was like, you could see again, it was that without talking. You can see that Andrew Garfield was like, I understand what he's going through right now, and I'm in this path too, more so than Toby. You know what I mean? That acceptance was like, yeah, fucking kill him. You know, that's what I got through it. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Toby jumped in, that's a Toby move. Bro,
that's a Toby.
That's Spider-Man. A Toby move, and because dude, Tom Holland was about to pull a fucking U.S. agent, bro. He was gonna smash that dude with the glider. So, and I felt it though. I felt it when Goblin stabbed Toby.
Yeah,
I was one of those movie magics. I was like, oh no, are they gonna fucking just kill him? Like.
And that's such a cool thing in a movie you don't get to see because you usually see that like, he would die and be like, oh yeah, this is continued my journey or some shit like that. He was like, nah, I've been stabbed before. It just fucking sucks. Come on. It's fucking cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like Eddie said, how Andrew said, I stopped pulling my punches. Yes, that's how, you know what I'm saying? That's how Tom was at that moment.
Yep.
I felt like he grew up. Just right there. It was like, you know what? Maybe he's kind of blinded by rage, like you said. He's like, nah, I isolated you. I'm gonna kill your ass myself. Like, real deal. I mean, he beat the shit out of him. That was cool. Like, no, I mean, it really was. You felt it. I was like, damn, dude, he is pissed, and he's showing off his spider strength.
Yep.
Like, Goblin didn't stand a fucking chance, bro. He's like, I got you, and he's just pulverized him, dude. Like, just pulverized him, bro. Like, because he's a frail old man anyway, if you think about it, right? Like, he's not a physical combatant, you know, or agile or anything. And stood no chance, man. You get that dude off that glider, and he doesn't have any bombs. That's the only part that kind of disconnect a little bit. I was like, what are you gonna do, Goblin? You're like head to head with them in close combat. And I was like, are they gonna do something weird? And they didn't. That's what was cool. They didn't, because I thought we were gonna see this weird. You know how, like, back in the day, a lot of martial arts flicks or old movies we watch, and everybody seems to be a pro fighter or something. You know no, he just took his beating, dude, that he deserved. He couldn't fight back. So I loved that, because I thought they were gonna do some weird goblin fight, and I'm like, no, he just straight whooped his ass. Like, whooped him, dude. And Toby coming in like that.
And that's what made it beautiful, because it was so personal. That's the thing. It was so personal. So it wasn't a big CGI. In MCU, we get that a lot. Even I think as much as everybody praises the Black Panther movie, and I love the Black Panther movie, but a lot of these movies at the end, it's a big CGI fight. It's always a big CGI fight. But this fight seemed to be, I mean, it was all, of course, they used CGI in it as well, in this movie as well. But this was just very personal.
Yes.
Very personal.
Very. You could see that bloodlust in him, dude. Like, he wasn't gonna stop. He would have killed him.
Yo, for sure.
He would 100% killed him if Toby didn't jump in. So I mean, and that again, like, that's a Toby move, bro. He that lawful good Spider-Man hero is like, no, you can't kill him. It's gonna change you. It's not right. Blah blah blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even have to say anything either. Again, we're coming back to that. He just stopped him and looked at him and just eyeballed him, and I was like, nah, like, he didn't have to speak.
Yep.
He knew. And dude, my God, man.
What about and this is another Toby moment that I found interesting. Like, we really find out what happened with him and MJ. All of us to read comics, we know, they're together. But it was cool that he was like, well, we kind of, when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was talking to him, he pretty much went and said, he was like, well, no, he was like, me and Mary J, we made it work. It was kind of cool to have that note, because at the end of Spider-Man 3,
it's kind of left.
It's kind of left it open. Like, it was kind of you know what? That one ended tragically too. When I think about it, kind of end dark.
It's been a while since I've seen those movies, but I do remember having that feeling at the end of Spider-Man 3, where I was like, are they together? Is this like, are they done? What's gonna happen?
Exactly. And what I got from that was, we're together, but we got a lot of work. And so it was kind of like, left open. And they hear them like, we worked it out.
Right.
That was kind of a cool moment.
Because it almost gives some closure to the Raimi trilogy.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, they worked it out. Whatever. That's cool. Between that, speaking of, like how you said, like they're kind of harking back, like when Osborn was like, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. Like, these weird little throwbacks and Easter eggs, and like, it just. Or when Toby's talking about his back, because I was like, all right, this is like really, I love it. Dude, I could watch a whole movie of all three of them just banter with each other.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking at. That felt Spider-Man-y. Like, even though they're all different Spider-Mans, it just felt like they had their sense of humor. They had this camaraderie that they didn't even know each other, but they all knew they were Spider-Mans, so they had that in common. And then they all had the loss that they had to deal with. Like, it's just really, really, really well done, man. It didn't feel. I'm really trying to think of something I can complain about.
I really don't have nothing.
And that's rare.
That's rare.
That's rare.
I really don't. I think I don't have anything. I'm gonna see it again, but like, but I don't think I have anything.
No, I think maybe a little, like I said in the beginning, is a little slow. I didn't really know where they were, but by the end of the movie though, I get the beginning more. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, okay, I get it. But when you're first there, I think it was just all this hype and anticipation. You're like, okay, what's gonna happen? It's been like 40 minutes. Like, what's going on here? I don't care about, MIT. I don't care about, you know what I'm saying? Like, but now I get it. I get how it makes sense towards the end now. Hey, they got to go to school. You know what I mean? All this, being erased. Their lives are in better hands without him.
Because at the heart of all these movies, it's they said this was like the John Hughes teenage high school film. That's what it, at the heart of these films. That's what it was. And they carried that all throughout this whole trilogy.
They did.
So
they did. Yeah. And I do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not all about the the action and the pew pews and all this explode. I like the story too, of course. But again, just because I think the anticipation, I was like, what are we getting in here? I know the movie's long, so let's and it wasn't really a complaint. It was just an observation. But as the movie progressed,
the weird thing is, how long is that movie?
I think it was like 2.5 hours, something like. But it didn't feel.
It was long, but you didn't feel it. It wasn't like I didn't feel that. It was a little, like you said. I agree with you. It was a little. It took a little bit to get the footing. Like, okay, where we go? Oh, this is where we're going.
Right, but that's why it's such. That's why most of the beginning is relevant at the end.
Yeah.
But you don't know that yet because you're going through in real time. So it's okay, I get it. So again, now checking it out a second time or something, we already know, so we can watch that and be like, and let's talk about that for a minute, because with Doc Ock, right, that battle on the bridge, that was sick.
Yeah. Yes.
That ended all our speculation right there. When he grabbed him and he absorbed his suit, but then he didn't understand that he's connected to it. So I thought that was kind of funny how he's like, look, I can move you around, and you know what I mean. But I thought that was because I was wondering how he had the nanotech on it, you know what I mean, on the tendrils. So I was like, okay, I see.
That brings up a good point about, now we're going to jump on to Hot Toys now. And that figure, the black suit, and I think we all kind of kind of thought about that. We were speculating about that in a couple streams back about was that suit, the gold and black suit, was that the inside of another suit? And we got that answer. Now, the thing that's kind of pissing me off is that it's not accurate to what was on screen. That figure is not accurate to what we seen on screen.
The Doctor Strange Spider-Man suit. That's what I'm gonna call it, because I don't know what the hell it's called.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have, like, you see the little wires, you see the blue wires and stuff hanging like that, and you're not getting that on any other figure. Do you think that kind of, I don't know how to say this. Do you think that lessens that figure any by not having it because it's not exactly screen accurate?
Well, that could also just simply be a prototype right now too that they could adjust. I mean, just for argument's sake, that they didn't see the movie.
Yeah. But that figure's out though. That's what I'm saying. That figure.
Oh yeah, you're right. Damn, you're right. The movie, the figure is out. Well, then them's the breaks. Again, it harkens back. They can't all be home runs.
It's true.
That is true. Yeah, maybe they did. I don't know how they dropped that one, or maybe they changed it in production, and the samples that they sent to Hot Toys they changed it, and it's not Hot Toys' issue. I don't know, but yeah, that is that is. But if they do bring Doc Ock, I think they will, because they did ask us if we want villains. I just don't know if they're gonna. I think they should. I think they should give him. I think. Well, what I mean is, I think they should give him the Tony Stark tentacles.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Even though he didn't have them very long, he had them in the movie. He had them for a good minute. He gave them back. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a defining characteristic of his return into the universe, right? So. And again, you have the third party Ock, who is just regular. So I think that would be a good way to counter that as well. Be like, well, this one has red and gold, and it's very representative of this movie.
But even if you had a way where they can you know, because he wouldn't come. I mean, Doc really doesn't need that many accessories, but the tentacles. But if you had the classic tentacles with the Stark tentacles in there, I don't think people would mind. And you make them like, I don't know, you make them, you know, some portions die cast or some shit like that.
That might be too
I
much
don't think
though.
people would. I don't think it would be. I don't. It would cost, but I don't think people would have a problem paying for it.
No, I suppose not. I suppose not. It just but at the end of the day, as a business, I think they'll just probably roll with the red and gold and call it a day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we'll take it. We'll take it one way.
Yeah, because we'll take it. And it's just you know, it cuts down on
take it.
production costs, all that shit. They're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Dude, I just want the Toby and the Andrew Hot Toys.
Yeah.
With the because as we all know, Hot Toys gets better and better and better and better. Their sculpts have been getting better. Their sculpted hair is a phenomenal like. So if we're getting a 2022 version Hot Toy like with sculpts, dude, that is what's up. And I see them doing that more than doing villains. So at least I'm more optimistic we're gonna see all the Spider-Mans from that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, if nothing else, Ock, Goblin, and Electro.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they don't do all, like I said, they're leaving money on the table. I think this movie is going to be their next Endgame franchise. And
I agree.
Endgame, and with the Endgame franchise wrapping, you know, figure franchise wrapping up right now. I think it's like 2 or 3 more figures we're waiting.
I think we're just waiting on Battle Damaged Mark 85 because Captain Marvel just came out.
Loki, so it's 2.
Oh yeah, Endgame Loki, but yeah, so he's around the corner. He's out any day now, and I think that's it.
That's it.
I think that's it. So they very much can. Yeah, you know what, Slim to Gremlin, I was gonna actually bring that up because I didn't understand that. He said Peter's still controlling his body after being in the astral plane was sick.
Yeah,
but I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he did that either. Could that be something dealing with his
suit,
his spider reflex?
Ew. Maybe, or his spider sense. Like, yeah, I would like to understand how he did that because you're right, it was dope. I thought that was really cool. He's like, how are you doing this? You know, whatever. I loved how he was like, that was the coolest thing ever happened to me, but don't ever do that again or something like, you know, like when he knocked him out of his body. But yeah, I don't know how he was able to move his body. I don't know if it was the nanotech in the suit, like a defense mechanism, because he was technically wearing like the upgraded suit, you know, the black and red. At the time, but I don't know. But it was a badass moment, man. 2012 Cap is out. Dirk. Exactly. He may not be shipped yet through Sideshow, but he's out. He's out. So yeah, I think just Loki and Mark 85 battle damaged, and then Endgame's done. And like you were saying, I think, you know, with this Spider-Man, that's going to be hopefully the semi next Endgame level for Hot Toys releases.
And Spider-Man is hot right now. Like even with a lot of people, because a lot of people, you know, may feel like the way you do. Because I know at this point with your collection, I know you're kind of done. Is it fair to say you're kind of done with the MCU?
I am done with the MCU. However, I have all my Spider-Mans that were from the PS4 game, and I do have all my, I guess technically MCU Spider-Mans. I have my Tom Holland Spider-Mans. With that said, I will be getting everything that's from Far From Home because it fits in my Spider-Man ensemble, you know, here in my collection. Right. You know, I've curated to where I've got, you know, all my Star Trek, you know, my XO6 stuff that I do, and then I have like my Star Wars out there, and then I have my Spider-Man out there. So you damn right. Yeah. If they give me a Doc Ock, I'm getting them. Green Goblin, I'm getting them. Electro, I'm getting them. Toby and Andrew, 100% I'm gonna get. Like, so, and they'll all fit with my other Spider-Man. So I'm down with that. I'm 100% down with that. But the MCU stuff, and again, you know, it's different because it's kind of a Sony film, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not picking up Avengers. I'm not picking up Eternal stuff or Loki or Falcon Winter Soldier, all that Hawkeye. I'm not picking any of that up.
No.
I'm done. Because it's hard.
It's definitely hard.
That's the age old with the money and space.
In money and space. Like I have the original 2012 Avengers, which I'll never get rid of because that's just my jam. That's like the base of my collection. But then you have the end game, and then the Infinity War stuff, and they take a huge chunk of my space.
Yes.
But that's just what it is.
I'm gonna say real quick, DK, he said you could see a spider sense when he was in the astral plane. So maybe I didn't catch that. Again, that's why second viewings help.
Yeah.
I was just more of like, whoa, he's pulling the whole astral thing. And also Eddie, this brings up a point because I was thinking about this too. He says, hope they give us a Tom with the suit at the end that he makes. And what I was thinking, I was going to say this a little while ago, they could do that and they could just name it movie promo or something like how they kind of did, or like with my Scarlet Witch, MMS 357. She's like the new Avengers style Scarlet Witch that only appeared at the very end of Civil War or Age of Ultron. I'm sorry. It was the very end of Age of Ultron.
Yep.
So she wore, when they were like, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to train a new group of heroes. And they all came in that suit that she was wearing. She didn't wear that in Civil War.
Which was a total mistake. They should have had her wear that.
Yeah.
That's like one of the best costumes she had.
Yeah. That's the only Scarlet Witch I have. Because that was the best.
I like her with the red. I like her with the red duster and the bustier and all that. That's cool too. That's the one I have. That's right. Cool, but that look would have been, I don't know why they didn't continue.
Yeah, well, you know why? Marketing, toys, all that shit. Like they change outfits. Yeah. I mean, it's like, so I get it, but agreed. I thought that was the best one. So they could do something like that. They could do this either movie promo or end of thing. You know what I'm saying? And we said had the Mark IV vibes with the color of that suit. Are you talking about the one from the PS4, like that suit? Because it looked like that colored palette was a nice lightish blue and red, and again, like you were saying, maybe he took inspiration from the other Spider-Mans, and it just from what we saw, it looked more classic.
Exactly. And what was funny to me is when you seen all three of them together, you realize, because in that universe, in let's just call it the MCU, the 616 universe, they seem to be blown away by like the technology. There was a lot of technology, and if you look at Andrew Garfield's costume and you look at Toby's costume, their costume was pretty basic.
Yeah, just stitched together.
It's pretty basic compared to what he had.
Oh yeah.
With all the technology, with all the Stark tech and all that shit.
Oh, even the villains were like, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah.
He's like, "No, I can fix you guys." And they're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, look at this badass machine." And they're just like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. Like, their tech is just not up to our 616 standards. Like, it's not. Yeah, exactly. So for him harkening back to a sewing machine and just living in his ghetto apartment and just stitching something together, it's more personal. It feels like, okay, this is my suit. I made it. I'm on my own. I have nobody. Nobody knows who I am. And him dealing with all the emotions of losing his, Aunt May and losing all his friends, all his peers and colleagues, from Avengers, things like that. Like, he is alone in this world, and he has to learn how to not only be himself and find himself, but still be Spider-Man. So that's Spider-Man to me.
Yes, totally agree.
I'm actually kind of stoked now.
Yeah,
because me, I was always bitching. I was like, I don't like him. I don't like Tom Holland. I like Tom Holland now.
I was thinking about you when that happened in the theater. I was like, I wonder what Ant is going to say. I wonder what he's going to say, because damn.
Yeah.
He ain't got none of that shit no more.
No. Well, and again, when I always gave him shit, it was because I didn't like how they handled him.
Right.
He's being coddled by Tony or this or that. He hasn't grown. But see, and we talked about that prior, months, it's like, hey, he needs to grow into his own. He needs to be Spider-Man. And I think they did that. So what we should see next, whenever a new Spider-Man movie comes out, it's got to be Spider-Man, bro. He's got there now. He is Spider-Man. As I said it again, remember, I was like, Aunt May better die. She better die, man. Like, because he needs that push. He needs that push. He's not in a safe space, bro.
Yep.
World's freaking dangerous.
Yep.
And you caused it.
And that was, yeah.
I mean, he did.
He did. And I like what Aunt May told him. She was like, well, that's what we live by. This is what we do. So it takes the blame off him a little bit, but it was still his choice, and he has to live with that choice.
Exactly.
The same way the other Spider-Mans had to live with their choice.
Right. Real quick, Eddie said he hadn't watched the Tobey movies in a little bit, but was Tom's apartment in the end the same use for Tobey? My buddy said that to me.
I think so.
He was like, that's Tobey's apartment. And I was like, is it? I don't know. It's been a minute.
I think that is. I think he's right.
It could be. I'm sure somebody on YouTube is going to be posting some Easter egg video and things you missed. And so we'll find out. Cause it's a good point. Like I said, my buddy was like, that's his apartment. And he's younger than me. He's more into the Tobey movies. I think, more in tune with them. And I was like, I don't know, dude. Maybe. I mean, shit, they're all in the movies. Why not bring his apartment? I don't know.
Right.
And DK says a little late. Did you touch on who was possibly coming through the rips at the end? We did not.
Yo, man, I could be wrong, but I swear, and somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, or Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I swear I saw Rhino, like comic accurate Rhino, and Kraven the Hunter. I swear I saw them. At least the silhouettes of them coming through.
I didn't see anything. I'm gonna say that right now, only because again, it's like your first viewing. I'm like,
right.
Just kind of like soaking this all in. I'm like, what's happening? Wait, let's get back to the fights. Where's the other Spider-Mans? Like, what's going on? Like, right. So a second viewing is gonna really, I don't have to divide my attention, right? I'm gonna try to pay more mind of what's going on than actually trying to follow the story. Because I don't know, and I think that's the cool thing about it, though. At the end of the day, it's just nothing happens, so we can just speculate. It could be anything. They kind of left it very ambiguous. It's just kind of like, well, they fixed it, so whoever was coming's not. You know what I mean? But
we know some people slipped through.
Yeah, maybe because I'm really, I don't know, right? Because if he reverses the spell, then they all poofed, like Venom poofed. Right, he went back. So even if some did slip through, they poofed back. I'm presuming because the spell is now done. So I don't know. What would be a great way to introduce Blade? Well, I think they're just making a movie of him. So
I would love to see Blade and Morpheus, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Because that's Sony. But,
I know, but they could. I mean,
they could. Well, I don't know if. I don't want to spoil anything. If anybody, here in the chat has seen, I can't remember these guys' name. The movie we just talked about, we didn't like. Gosh,
Eternals.
The Eternals. There you go. There's a scene at the end of Eternals, and there's somebody talking to another character, and it was rumored that character was Blade, but we never seen. We just heard a voice. We didn't see anything on the screen, so I don't know if that's true. I think the director may have said that. I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird scene.
Well, you're absolutely right. If Blade could be in Mobius, that would be, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Growing up, like we talked about, reading comics and then watching like Spider-Man, the animated series, you know how we all have memories in life, right? We all have these weird memories that we just never forget, even though they're like insignificant, right? You just always see, you have this moment of clarity of this memory, right? And there was a time I was sitting there, I was watching TV, and a commercial came on, and it was a movie trailer, on just TV, right? And I'm watching this dude for like, 20 seconds or something. I'm like, is this Blade? I was like, I'll never forget that memory. I'll never forget it. And then the title's all Blade. I was like, holy shit, they're making a movie? I was like, what, like 13, 14? I don't know, remember. I was, teenager or something. And, it was just kind of like, wow. Because we didn't have superhero movies. I mean, we kind of had like the 1990 Cap America, like, fantastic. Right. But we didn't have like a Hollywood, really like a movie. And I was like, holy shit.
Batman, it was like you had like the Batman and Robin movie that was like the downslide of all the superhero movies.
Yeah,
they took the Batman franchise and just ran it into the
dirt, bro. Yeah. the Joel Schumacher like down, you know. But again, even in the Marvel sense, we didn't have a whole, you know, that's what I was saying. I was like, this is Blade, and then it's like Blade. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I called that shit, you know. And I was thinking that because like you said with Mobius, I was like, this would be a good. They go hand in hand, bro.
Exactly, and you probably seen that and that Spider-Man animated series episode that we all saw, because I think I remember seeing it. And I was like, a black dude with a sword killing vampires with a flat top. I'm in.
Hell yeah!
I was like, I am fucking in.
Yeah, dude. I love that shit, man. Oh man, I saw Blade in the theater. I saw Blade and Blade 2 in the theater. I didn't see Blade 3 in the theater, but I remember going to see both of them. Because I love Blade 2, man. I was like, dude, we're getting movies of like superheroes and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Blade was before Spider-Man, Toby.
Yes.
That shit was like 98, maybe, if I'm guessing. 97? I don't know.
Summer of 98.
Summer of 98.
It was August. Because I remember it was a weird day. I remember being stranded that day, and I went somewhere and I didn't have a ride. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna go to the movies. It was like, I was young, I was a teenager. It was like the first time I was kind of like by myself. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the movies and I'll just wait for my ride. And I saw that shit and I was like, dude, like I remember telling people about like, you gotta see the Blade movies.
Oh, that's dope. August 21st, 1998. I looked it up.
Yep.
So you're right. Because Spider-Man was 2002.
Yep.
I remember because in the trailer they had the two towers. Or the promo, or remember they took that yeah, they
yes,
they took it out.
Yep,
I remember.
I was hyped as shit. That was like one of the best trailers ever too.
When did I see that?
It was a Spider-Man movie when it was.
No, yeah, I think I saw that. I think they had that trailer in like Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith.
It was something.
It was
like
one of the
that.
prequel movies because the prequels were still new in theaters,
right?
And they had the Spider-Man trailer, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I think it might have been Revenge of the Sith. I don't remember. I don't remember.
You're right.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, that was a cool trailer too, because you didn't know what the hell, you know. And then you're like, "Oh."
You just see him pulling it. You see the spider web between two towers. He was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, because I mean, I mean, come on, man. We had like the TV show Spider-Man back in the day. Right.
Yes.
Well, and if we happened to see it, we had, you know, Japanese Spider-Man.
Yes.
we never saw shit like this. Yep. So to me, that's why I was like, all right. When I saw that Spider-Man trailer, it was like, holy shit. That was like that moment where you're like, I'm seeing Spider-Man, dude, for the first time.
Right.
Like, really.
Remember in the 90s when they would have like in Wizard magazine and they would talk about like who would possibly be Spider-Man. I think at that time they were like thinking that James Cameron was going to do a Spider-Man movie, and I think Michael Biehn was actually going to be. They were tapping him to play. To play Peter Parker. This was like years ago. This was way in the 80s, early 90s. And then I think Leonardo DiCaprio. They were looking at him at one point because Michael Biehn at that point had gotten too old. It was like all this wizard just like. Phantom cast.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of that. Remember? I mean, shit. We had a Nicolas Cage Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, because people throw around the ideas for years.
Yep.
And you know how many times there's other movies I can't think of the top of my head that have had like 3 or 4 different like screenwrites and scrapped, and then it's gone to somebody else, and it's like it's just in this weird limbo, and they're like, is this movie ever coming out? Like that type of thing, like where it's just running for years and years, and then they don't do it, and they come out with this, and then you're like, did you know, by the way, this was happening for like years, and then they just scrapped it? Like, yeah. No, we didn't spoil any Eternals. We was just kind of talking about like an end credit thing that may or may not have to do with Blade, but yeah, no, it's just so that again, you know, seeing that first Spider-Man trailer was like, wow. So to me, I think that's what pulled me in. Not so much that it was Tobey Maguire. You know what I'm saying? As an actor, he's cool, but just seeing Spider-Man, you're like, oh God. So now to see him again brings back that you're like, oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yes, this guy might be the GOAT, you know, for this generation because it started it, you know?
soon as he was on screen, my theater just jumped. It was
Explode.
I mean, they just exploded. It was just wow. It was one guy was sitting next to me. He lost his shit, and I couldn't even be mad at him because I was excited too. I was like, damn, this is wow. And then you think about it. I was talking to my buddy, and we was like, you know what? We just saw 20 years worth of Spider-Man on the screen. I was like, damn, it has been 20 years.
Yeah.
2002, 2000, going into 2022. It has been 20 years.
Shit. When he was like, "Oh, my back hurts, man," somebody's like, "Yeah, that's what happens when you carry a fucking franchise or something." I was like, "Yeah, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, right? It's just freaking. DK. So, what do you think of the symbiote piece that got left behind? Do you think we'll see a different Eddie Brock in the MCU? Yes, we were talking about that a little earlier. I know we started this a little early, so those probably have missed some things, but yeah, I think that's a great way to do it, because I don't feel like Tom Hardy's Venom is necessarily, he's not bad, but it's not very befitting of the MCU, and he's much older than Tom Holland. And for me, it harkens back to what we were saying earlier. I really think they can switch it up and make him Flash Thompson, because that's more of his equal, as far as age and peer group. Like, they could do that. He was Agent Venom in the comics. It would just be kind of weird, right? Like,
and you know what? You bring up a real good point, because the Venom that we have right now in the Sony Spider-Verse, he's an anti-hero. Why would he really have any real beef with Spider-Man?
Yeah, he don't. The symbiote, perhaps.
The symbiote, perhaps.
Only because he said he's been through multiple universes and he's like that guy, at the end of Carnage. But
right,
that could just be this little fan thing.
Eddie, and if Eddie in this version, Eddie Brock is pretty much an okay guy.
Eddie does not like Peter.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. The comics.
Yeah.
So again, that's what you're saying. I agree with you. I don't think Tom Hardy's Venom he's an anti-hero. So it just doesn't work for me. I think if they went that route with Flash, something would have to happen to Flash, which, again, I don't even know how that's going to work, because nobody even knows Peter Parker Spider-Man now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, what were you saying? So what do you think about Venom being pulled into this Earth? Strange says all Spider-Man's enemies would be pulled in. This Venom is yet to meet Spider-Man. Could it be a connection between symbiotes? Venom did say he had lots of information. Yeah, it is kind of, like I said, it's a little weird, right? Like, so I don't think we're gonna have a Tom Hardy Venom in the MCU or the Spider-Man movies per se. Because why else would they drop the symbiote, on the bar? That's to show the audience, hey, oh shit, okay, so Venom's not here, but the symbiote's in this universe. Stay tuned for more. Well, okay. Exactly. Well, Eddie's not here anymore. Or Tom Hardy's not here anymore. So all that we are left with as an audience is there is some symbiote still left over on our Earth that will inevitably find its way to Peter Parker.
Yep.
Which is great anyway, because he needs to be wearing the suit first. Anyway.
Exactly.
See, people get it all twisted. They're like, oh, well, maybe he'll fight Venom and then he'll get the spider logo or this or that. And it's like, well, no, you got to understand, Spider-Man was the black suit for years. Until Fantastic Four, Mr. Reed Richards helped him. Yep. And they got it off of him.
All that time was feeding off his energy, feeding off it, being Spider-Man, feeding off the old suit that he was wearing. It's a reason for all of that. So,
yeah,
So
I think, if anything, we're not going to see Venom for a while, possibly 5 years.
You know what?
Because it's going to be at least a few years, right, till we see the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, 2
or 3 years till we see it, and then he's got to wear the suit if he wears it in the first of the new trilogy.
But he doesn't have to wear this. He doesn't have to start wearing that suit now in a Spider-Man movie. He can be snaked into another Marvel movie somewhere. Maybe secret invasion.
Right, like in between.
In between. And then they're like, cool costume. Where'd you get that from?
He could be, but he's definitely not getting it from space.
Yeah.
He's getting it from Mexico. because that's where it's at.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know how that's going to work, right? Because you're gonna, when we talk about suspension of disbelief, are you going to make us assume that this symbiote was left in Mexico and slithered its way into the United States all the way to New York?
Right.
And it didn't like grab a host in between? Or you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that means,
Or maybe that's how it traveled. Maybe it traveled as a host.
it could, and we just don't. They maybe kind of inform us through, some type of conversation. They don't necessarily show it. Or again, that's a weird thing too, because us comic book guys were like, that's not what happened. I mean, it gets it in space, but either way, we're not getting it in space. So I don't know how. Again, it's all just weird. It's just weird speculation. But I think he will wear the suit, and he'll wear it for a while. And again, it probably won't be until a second Spider-Man movie where if it's not Eddie Brock or if it's Flash or somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be years. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be, because he has to wear it for a while, and then he has to get it removed.
And I remember, what's his name? The guy that directed the motion capture guy.
Andy Serkis?
Andy Serkis, thank you.
Yep.
He was saying that he's like, I don't know why people think that Tom Hardy's just gonna pop up in a Spider-Man movie, which he did, but he said it's not just Venom is not just gonna pop up in a Spider-Man movie because they want to make it. That's going to be an event,
right?
Of them coming in, which makes a lot of, when you think about it, marketing and money. When you start following the money with it, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to sell tickets. Why are we going to just shoehorn them in at the end of a movie when we can use this to sell tickets? So that makes sense too.
I agree. I think I just think they're gonna do something that's not Tom Hardy at the end of the day. And I don't know what they're gonna do with his movie. They're gonna wrap that shit up. Is he gonna keep going? That's what's so weird. It's a weird. Yeah. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. All I know is if they do get the suit in the MCU, by that time, again, it's gonna be a while, but by that time, we're gonna have a Fantastic Four movie. Yeah. And he's gonna run into them. And at that time, I don't see why they wouldn't have Peter reach out to Reed Richards and have help removing the damn suit from him like they did in the comics. It's the pieces are in place.
Yep.
It's just a matter of time now. So anyway, that's a lot.
It's a great movie.
That's a great movie. I don't know if we should probably be wrapping up.
No.
But if there's anything else in the chat you guys wanted to know or talk about, we'll give it a few minutes here. I could say that I'm super excited with Hot Toys, and I really, really hope, as you do as well, that we just get all three Spider-Mans. Well, we already got three of the Tom, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's get to Toby. Let's get the Andrew. Let's get the three main villains. And I'd be happy with that. Just give us 5 more figures from that line.
Yep.
Because they just announced that Doctor Strange, so we've got that. We've got 3 suits. We got a quarter scale. Now give us 5 more, and we're good.
We're good.
You can omit the Lizard and Sandman. I get it. It'd be kind of cool, but we all know Hot Toys never completes shit. So if they leave those 2 out, I think we're okay with that.
Yeah. You can almost make the Sandman you can almost do that like kind of what they did with the Spider-Man 3 black suit. They did like, I think they did like what did they do, some type of a diorama base or something with Sandman or something like that, like something punching him. I remember something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. They or
you can get away with that.
You could.
You can do that.
You could. That's a good point. It's kind of like the No Way Home. No, Far From Home. These damn movie titles. The Far From Home Stealth Suit Spider-Man Deluxe has the Molten Man diorama base.
Exactly.
So, but then again, I don't know, because this Spider-Man has a diorama base with Doc Ock tendrils.
That's true.
So it's like, hey, no. we need a Doc Ock. We don't need a Molten Man, but we need a Doc Ock, bro. Yeah, bonus if they give us the new suit. 100% agree, bro. I want the new suit. Call it a movie promo edition. Call it some. Well, they called this one a movie promo edition too. Didn't they just call something movie promo?
That was the suit. That was the suit he wore in No Way Home, Far From Home.
Yeah, it was like the upgraded suit, but it battle damaged, right?
Battle damage.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Which did we even see that happen? See, shit blew me by. Was he all roughed up in that suit?
Maybe when he was fighting Doctor Strange, but I don't even think it was that. I don't even think he was that like battle damaged when he was.
Yeah,
I gotta go back.
Yeah, again, we need a second viewing because I don't know. But either way, they don't have to call it a movie promo, but they have to call it something to, because technically, look, through a Hot Toys standpoint, because you got to understand how Hot Toys works. If it's in the movie or a TV show, they make it most of the time as small enough screen time is there. I mean, shit. Remember the Space Trooper?
Yeah.
Okay, those dudes were outside the Death Star, right? Or the Star Destroyer when they're pulling in the tractor beam with Han and the Falcon. They're not even really thinking. They made those figures. They do this all the time. The Scarlet Witch that we were talking about. I've got that new Avengers one. She's barely on screen. So
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stanley, exactly. So with that said, as Hot Toys business is known to do through our experience with them, they can make that suit. And why not? Because that shit'll sell, of course. And then a few years from now, when that Spider-Man movie comes out and he's wearing it, they'll just make it again. Because it'll be slightly different than what we saw. Because what we saw was kind of fat. You know what I'm saying? So yes, if they make that, totally. Willem Dafoe's performance was fantastic in this. I feel he was so much more menacing in this, than his original. Absolutely. I would want his hooded appearance as a figure. Look, I'm telling you, if they make the Green Goblin, bro, they're going to make him. He's going to have his head sculpt. He's going to have the hood because it's just a hood that can magnetically attach and remove, right? And he's going to have a glider. And then he's going to have his original Sam Raimi mask. And the mask is either a separate head sculpt or it's just a mask that you can put on. I don't know, but I don't see them not doing that. I don't see them not doing that at all.
They got to do these villains. Those villains are such a big part of this story, and they were great. And I think they're iconic. If they do a Mysterio, I can't see them not doing at least doing a Doc Ock.
Doc Ock became a hero, so they can throw their fucking villain argument out the window.
There you go.
In my eyes, Doc Ock was a hero.
He was a hero. Shit, he saved them from fucking Electro. Electro was damn near on like God level. He was like Raiden out here.
Agreed. Like Raiden, the god of dude. Oh my God, yes. Iron Logan, what is up, bro? Iron Logan just joined the chat. What's up, guys? Just joined. How epic was the movie? Well, there's about 2 hours of previous footage if you want to watch us talk about it, but it is we could talk another 2 hours. That movie was amazing. I'm assuming you saw it. Please let me know in the chat because we're just talking about Hot Toys right now. I want to spoil it for you. But yes,
it's
amazing. And yes, Doc Ock, again, he has to come out. He has to come out.
Yes.
Goblin, let's go. Let's get a glider. Look, you need to one-up people, right? We talked about this earlier on Dante's stream too, about if third parties, can get licensed, for example, and compete in healthy competition and whatever. But even without that case, we have the Fiend, right? The third party Goblin has an amazing glider, things like that. So there already is competition. So imagine Hot Toys doing this one, and they have the license. It's official movie.
Yes.
Cried about 4 times. Iron Logan said, "You know what? It's cool. You can come sit with us at the cool table, man, because we got some teary-eyed in there too, man. That movie, amazing, absolutely amazing."
Did y'all see the picture of Tom Holland, like him leaving out I think we talked about that, but Tom Holland at the premiere, he was actually like, they snapped a photo of him like walking to his car or whatever, and he was just like bawling like a baby because that was the first time he's seen like the movie in its entirety.
Right. You got a lot of the actors. You got to remember that's. A lot of people always wondered that. Why do actors go to the premieres? Well, it's like they don't see the movie.
They don't see the movie.
Right? They may see like edits in the studio or whatever, but they haven't seen it. Or in some cases, actors that are in the movie aren't even in scenes with other actors, so they don't even get to see a lot. They're there for the day or the week, and they're filming this segment, and
their shit.
They film their shit and they're out. So to see it all, like you said, yeah, I bet that was an emotional movie for all of us. So I'm sure it is for him as well. As soon as it was over, my wife said, "Oh, when are we gonna go see this again?" Yeah, exactly. We don't you don't get that a lot of that. I mean, to be fair, I did see Avengers, I think, twice in the theater. I saw Captain America, the first Avenger, twice. There's a few of them I've seen a couple times, but not everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Endgame 5 times.
Which one? I'm sorry?
Endgame 5 times.
5 times. Wow.
Endgame 5 times. I saw the record, I called it the title. The first Transformers. Yes. The first Transformers. Remember, that came out before the MCU. That's all we had.
That is all we had.
I saw that 7 times.
Damn.
7 times.
You are that is 7 times more than me. No, I seen it though, but like more than I get that. Now have you just out of curiosity, and also Iron Lewis, so when Andrew saves MJ and starts tearing up, oh man, hit me in the feels. Yeah, dude. Yeah, we talked about how without even having any conversation, there's no spoken dialogue. They were able to convey those emotions just through the facial expressions, things like, I loved it. But what I was wondering, since we were talking about that real quick, has there been a movie that you have seen twice in one day? For a theater, I should say.
Episode 1. You
went but twice in, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not back to back, but like.
Me, I'm aging myself, but that was my senior skip day.
Oh, you had a cut day.
They actually said it on a loudspeaker. They was like, "Oh, y'all seniors leaving today. I know y'all gonna be seeing Star Wars, but." And that's what we did. We saw it the first day, and we were like, "Oh, this is great, man! I wish Darth Maul, was in it more. Let's go see it again." And
right? Okay. So, because I too have done that, but I did it with the Matrix Reloaded. I think it was Matrix Reloaded, or it could have been it might have been the last movie. It's been a minute, but I saw it. Yeah. I think it was the last movie, actually. I think it was the last movie. I seen it twice in one day. I went in the morning, I checked it out, and I had to go back and watch it again. And I went again in the evening, like 5 or 6 at night. I went home, chilled, processed. I think it was the last movie because it was over. It's the end of the trilogy. I processed, had some lunch.
Yeah.
I have not seen that yet, dude. I know. It's like one of the only Tarantino flicks I haven't seen, bro.
That's like the Tarantino.
I know. I haven't seen one or two.
Pulp Fiction is the Tarantino.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs.
Those two are like the heavy hitters. I love Hateful Eight. I love Django Unchained. I just never. You know what it was? It was one of those things where I was like, I gotta watch Kill Bill. And then like time passed, and then more time passed, and then more time passed, and I'm like, fuck, I need it. So one of these days, I'm just gonna sit down and watch both of them. The Outsiders. Oh
wow,
I remember that movie. That is a good movie. That had Ralph Macchio, right? Karate Kid, and other people that their names escape me.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a damn good movie.
And totally off topic, but speaking of, Cobra Kai is just a couple weeks away. New Year's Eve it comes out. Oh shit, that's what's up, dude. No mercy. I love Cobra Kai, bro. Yeah, I love it. Of course I love it. Yeah, so okay. Well, I think we should probably wrap up then, huh?
Yeah.
I have we'll go ahead. Well, first of all, what's going on with you anyway, bud?
Man, I think Sunday I'm going to be on Will's. I'm going to be on Will's stream on Sunday. I may be on Aries tomorrow. Not sure. And I still got a bunch of videos coming out. I'm working on the top 10 figures of the year. I've been holding back on it because I'm just waiting for Hot Toys to release Ahsoka or something.
Right, because the year's not quite over yet.
Right.
You're like, damn it.
Because I know I'm going to do it, and then something's going to come out, and I'm like, shit. So that's why I'm holding off. I'm still holding off for about another week on that. But I pretty much got a good list of what I'm going to do with that. And then on my stream, you're definitely gonna be on that on what is that, Wednesday? Yeah,
Thursday.
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 On Thursday. Best of the best. Got that coming Thursday. And that's pretty much it for me. Just doing a bunch of streams and just waiting to see what Hot Toys drops next, and just putting out that news, man, and just keeping the content flowing.
Exactly. I feel that, man. And you know what I think you should do, just my opinion, is if that's the case, man, you gotta wait till January 1st, man, and then drop that figure video.
Yeah.
You're like, well, it's New Year's Day. We're now in 2022. This is my top 10 of 2021. And,
yep.
Because you're right. It just sucks we're in that position where we're like, damn it. Yeah. The year's not over. Ahsoka still may launch. Maul may be coming. Who knows? Maybe Pennywise is tomorrow. I don't know.
Exactly.
Is Loki?
But it's so much stuff that came out this year, and it was kind of hard when I put my list together. I was like, this is number one. No, this is number one.
Right,
like,
it's such a hard.
This should be number one.
Yeah.
I almost want to make it the top 20 because there's so much shit that came out.
Agreed. I know. We had such a good year. Real quick, Iron Logan said his Bad Boys, not the same day, but 5 times in a couple weeks. That's how many he saw that. Quite a bit. Okay. Great flick. DK said Rogue One, but I saw a night premiere, went back in the morning. That still counts. It's within a 24-hour period. Yep. You went back to back, bro. I've had things like that. I don't recall exactly what movie, but I know I've been there where I've seen it at night, and it's like, you know what? We're gonna go back. I think we did that with Avengers actually, or like Cap First Avenger. It was one of those. You see it at night. The next day, you're like, I ain't doing shit. Because it's like a Friday usually. They weren't doing these Thursday releases, remember? They do a Friday at midnight. Then they went back to Friday at like 7 p.m. Then they're kind of bringing it back to like a Thursday or something. So for us, it was like Friday midnight. It's the weekend. You wake up a little. You're like, you know what? We ain't got shit going on this. Let's go see it again. Let's go. So anyway, guys. Oh, and he also says that we're both hopping on in the Kit Batch challenge. Iron Logan.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Depending on what I have laying around, I'm definitely down. I got your email on it. Super excited. Yep. Speaking of Iron Logan, I believe next week, correct me if I'm wrong, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday. I could get confused with our time zones, but I will be on Iron Logan's next week. We're going to be doing one of his posing videos. So I think we're going to be talking about and messing around with Venom, since we both have him. So that should be really fun. Tonight, actually, I'm gonna have to get something to eat. In 2 hours, I'm gonna be on Dante's channel tonight. Get Manahawk Collectibles. So we're gonna be doing a live stream over there. There he is. Speak of the devil, right there. Good show. Yeah, we were just talking about you. How we were talking about. I just brought it up. I just brought up his Between Collectors on Wednesday. So it's funny, Dante's still here. So I appreciate, Tuesday, Iron Logan, Tuesday, my day. We'll be doing that. Tonight will be on Dante's. I think I may or may not be on Aries. He sent me a voice message and I haven't checked it yet. So I may or may not be on Aries Saturday. I guess we'll find out. And, it's good. It's good to be streaming again. I know this is a weird stream because it's all Spider-Man, but we had to talk about it and it's an odd day. And I know a lot of people wanted to come on today, but we started early and well, them's the breaks. So I think what's going to happen is we'll go ahead and we'll probably do another spoiler discussion with more people, possibly this weekend. I don't know. Yep. So, I mean, maybe Will, Foxification, maybe Dante, Mario for Collecting Weekly. I got some other people that wanted to come on in and talk. So that'll be kind of fun. We'll be able to bounce off and maybe we'll be able to see it again too. So we'll have a little bit more, to talk about things like that. Cause it's dope. And then, and hopefully I'll be doing my streams on Mondays. We were going to do it this week, but it's just been hectic and this whole holidays, New Year's, Christmas, everything. Everybody's schedules work around. Some people are going on vacation to see family. It's just, so we'll be doing something. So stay tuned, guys. And I don't have all my stuff set up because again, we were kind of experimenting with my overlay here. So no intros, no outros. I couldn't put your guys' chat up, but hey, it is what it is. So on that note, fellas, we will see you guys